What is doing? My name's Maloney. This is the 3000 podcast. I'm joined today by a graffiti writer and an old mate, Gast FMC. How you going, man?
All right, brother. What's doing? TSF in there as well, mate.
TSF, yes, you did. You did the piece the other day. TSF, FMC, Gast AKA Gastly. Man, I appreciate you coming in. I know you've got an interesting story, graffiti stuff, a lot of just interesting shit. So I'm keen to get into this, man.
Bit interested on why you want to be in here. I know there's more other writers that are way bigger than me and done a lot more for the scene than I have.
But you also, as I'm older than you, and you at a young age were pretty prolific, especially for your age. So that's an interesting factor in itself.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's bring it back. I know you grew up in an area not dissimilar to me, but whereabouts did you grow up?
Same area, wasn't it?
Pretty much. So I was a little bit different. I was in Elwood, but you were in sort of East St Kilda.
East St Kilda, Balaclava. First house was in Jackson Street, just at the back of Fitzroy, behind Prince of Wales.
I was there, 25 Jackson Street. I lived that for a bit.
I was on Felix Lane.
Yeah.
In the lane.
That was pretty cooked there.
It was cooked.
Because the back of
85 was even more cooked.
For people that don't know, that sort of backs onto where the emergency housing is and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So there's some messed up units around there.
Yeah. Been like that for a while there.
It has. I think I haven't been down to Jackson Street for a while, but that definitely was a sort of spot where it was far enough away from Fitzroy Street that people just go to do their shit and then sort of go back to Grey Street or Fitzroy Street.
Yeah. But St Kilda back in those days, like when my folks come over from NZ, St Kilda was Indigenous and a lot of Māori living in St Kilda.
Yep.
Our rugby club was there, a few churches in the area, stuff like that.
Yep.
So all the Māoris, for some reason, that come over, all migrated there. St Kilda to start off with, and then it moved out to your Altonas and your Dandenongs and Springvales, those kinds of areas.
And it was, we talk about it now as in like, it was kind of shit, but it was pretty cool as well. Like the kids, you had fun.
I didn't notice the shit side of it as a kid. Mm-hmm. I mean, growing up now, being an adult now and having kids, would you live there and like the way it was back then? I couldn't imagine sending my kids walking to school.
No.
You know, St Kilda Primary, we had I think it was the homeless shelter just up the road near the church on Chapel Street.
Still there, yeah.
Still there. You had to walk past that to get to school, you know. Mm. A few heads hanging around there that you wouldn't want your kids around, but sort of the norm back then.
It definitely was the norm, yeah. But there was cool places, like even the adventure playground, you know what I mean? Like in a spot that you had to really know where you were going to find it. Yeah. That was cool there. That was not far from Jackson Street.
Yeah. Off Grey?
Yeah, sort of. Neptune, sort of.
Yeah, but off Grey Street.
Right, yeah.
Off Grey Street. And there was hectic stuff going on there.
You couldn't escape it.
Nah.
So growing up in that area, you see graffiti around, you see that. You can't help.
It wasn't... growing up, it wasn't about graff or anything. I didn't really see it then as a kid. It wasn't until I started hanging out with my cousins out Heidelberg way, and they were older. You know, they were into like all the Nike stuff, and they were two of my girl cousins, and they were already bombing.
What are we talking now? Like mid-90s?
93, 4-ish. Going out to my aunties a fair bit with my mum. And hanging out there, school holidays and stuff like that.
And they're showing you, they're hanging out with people, they're bombing, they're showing you, well, this is what happens out here.
Heidelberg, north?
Yeah, northeast.
Northeast, out that way?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's when I started to see it. That's when I started to notice it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then, like, even where we were, like Balaclava, there's plenty of graff around there in
there was
the
heaps.
90s, but you just weren't focused
Not then. Right. Not as a kid.
Yeah.
You know, we moved from Jackson Street, I think I was about 4 or something like that, and we moved into Balaclava, right up the other end of St Kilda, up near Orong Road end, across the road from a synagogue.
The more Jewish part of town, yeah.
The Jewish part of town. There weren't any Māoris in our street. We were the only ones, you know.
So what brought you up there?
Mum got a house. Mum wanted out of the apartment. She wanted out of that area. Just obviously raising two boys, wanted us out of that area, and we moved up there into, I think it was Meadow Street. Had a playground at the end of it. Sort of in the corner of Balaclava Road and Orong, in that little pocket there.
Near where the Caulfield Park is.
Pretty much. Yeah.
It's a good spot.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah.
We were renting a 2-bedroom house there, and I'd been there till 98.
98.
Yeah.
So about 98, then you're in your teenage years.
Teenage years, that's high school, yeah.
And then you start to catch the graffiti bug.
Nah, so that probably happened primary school, 96, walking to school from there, from the Bella house, down Carlisle Street, past the train station and down all the laneways on the way to school.
And you just see tags and you're like...
There was tags everywhere. There was all that stuff.
So you're grade 6?
Grade 6. Grade 6, probably tagging probably my name back then.
They'll never get me.
Nah.
So are you influenced by your cousins as well? Are they saying like, all right, this is how you do it?
Nah, they weren't telling me to do graff. I was just noticing it. I was noticing that they were doing it. You know, we'd go up to the mall. I think it was out in Heidelberg, which was, mate, that joint was hectic. Compared to St Kilda, like Heidelberg was pretty up there. Olympic Village and stuff like that. Right. A bit going on out there.
That's actually the Olympic Village because that's where they built the Olympic.
That's where they did it, yeah. But then that became commission housing.
Right.
And that was like a no-go zone out there.
Really?
Yeah.
So is that till this day? Is that still like that, or has it been gentrified since?
I think there's a bit. I think it's a lot of. I think it was very Aussie out there.
Right.
Back then, I noticed anyway. But now I think it's very a lot of Africans and stuff like that out there now these days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Olympic Village.
Olympic Village.
I'll have to look into that, man. It's interesting because even like parts of Port Melbourne were built at that same sort of time.
Yeah.
For like government housing, but then since that's not the way, they slowly sell them off.
Yeah.
And it becomes like just fucking
well, there was a few houses along there on the stretch at the back of Port there that are on the beach.
Yeah.
Prime real estate, you know.
Big time. That whole Barrack Road Flats thing, man, they figured out that was too prime and they've knocked it down and they've sold all that shit off.
They have?
It's all gone.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I've been that way for a while.
Nah, my family's still down there. I get down there.
Yeah.
So you walk into school at grade 6, you're seeing tags, you start to do your own. You're also someone who often hung out with older people. So you got friends that are in high school then?
Nah. Not in 96. Not in 96. 96 was just still because of my cousins just copying what they were sort of doing without them, like no one knowing then, right. You know. But 97 is when it took off.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's year 7.
Year 7.
It's easy for you to remember 97, year 7.
That's it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it went with the years. Yeah.
So in year 7, then you're like, all right, I'm in high school now.
Yeah, so we had to do, is it orientation? From primary school to high school? And I did that at Paran High.
Yeah.
Which
is different to what it is now.
It's gone.
Well, yeah, but now that Paran High's back at Chapel Street, where Swinburne was.
Is it?
Yeah. They've got a new Paran High.
Really?
The one that you were was opposite the footy oval, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah. So that's long gone.
Yeah. Opposite Toorak Station?
Yeah, well, you're right near Toorak Station.
Yeah. I think a rugby field's there now. But, I did my orientation at Paran High, but during that process, the government had merged Paran High, Murrumbina High and Caulfield High all into one and made Glenora College. It was probably like 3 of the worst schools you could like merge together. And
they moved that to just near Caulfield Racecourse.
That's right, yeah. Which was the old Caulfield High.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's where you started going to school.
That was high school. That's where we started going to. Yeah, that's where I started going to school, and that was just a melting pot for riders from all those schools, the older guys, in anyway, and that's when it took off. That's when I noticed. That's when I wanted to do it, more of it.
Yeah. I remember that school was in the media a little bit for some bad, like the wrong reasons as well.
Oh, heaps. A lot of drugs.
Yeah, there was
a lot
kids
of
got done doing
involved.
heroin at that school, man.
Yeah. had some like hidden cameras to try and catch some of the guys doing it and selling it, and not good, but
It happens.
that's what it was. But that, I mean, that's what happens when you merge. All the different cultures that come from different areas.
But when you think about it, man, it's geographically, it's in a pretty affluent spot between Caulfield, Murrumbeena, fucking, you're not that far from Malvern, Toorak,
No.
like really affluent areas.
Yeah. Well, there was a lot of complaints from the community because of the heads going to that school.
Because of the heads. For sure.
Yeah.
So you start going there. Are you still writing your name? You coming up with other names? People like that?
Nah. Dreams was the tag then when I got into
And so I think
high school.
Porter talks about this
With his brother.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's an interesting one as well. He's probably the first guy I actually bombed with. And that would have been probably 96. I don't even know how old Jordan would have been back then.
And this is cinch for people that don't know.
Correct. Yeah. So they just lived up the road from us. When I moved to Balaclava, I become really, really good friends with the Porter family. And
you'd be a bit older than Jordan?
Way older.
Yeah. So you'd be more like Nick's age.
Yeah. Maybe even a year older than Nini. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And then, but you just
and then Michael was older than me again.
Yeah.
And then the older sister as well.
So then, but you just hit it off with Jordan, or you guys were just...
Well, no, I was hanging out with Nini more so, and Michael back then as well. Michael was really into his Michael Jackson stuff right there back then.
Was he?
Man, dude rolled around with a hat and one glove and moonwalking everywhere and shit. He probably hate me for fucking saying that, but he did.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
He was right into his Michael Jackson
Loved
face.
it.
Okay.
Loved it.
Okay.
Loved it.
Yeah.
Loved it. He wasn't painting or anything like that back then. But we're just hanging out at the park. So I was on one side of the park and they were on the other.
Are they still at that family house where they...
Still in the same family house, yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Nick was telling me that the other day. I thought they'd all moved out, but I think Michael might even be back there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Pretty full on.
A
lot of memories of that place too.
From what I can gather, speaking of people, a lot of people live there for various parts of time as well. Because it sounds like the family were just like, they can stay.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, man. Like, his mum, their parents used to take in like exchange students from, at this stage anyway, they had Japanese dudes living out of the house, and they used to paint model cars.
Yeah, I'm just going to move the microphone a bit. Yeah, keep going.
They used to paint model cars, and I used to G up Jordan to fucking just go tax a couple, go bomb the park or whatever, It's like, yeah, cool. And one story, we went at, he went and racked a whole heap of paint off these dudes from their cupboard while they were out doing uni or art school or whatever the fuck it was they were doing. And we went bombing. We went and bombed the local park, the Dunnies, and we copped a chase from these, I think it might have been a Jewish couple, and Jordan got nabbed, and I'd fucking legged it. Seen that he got grabbed, and I was fucking feeling bad. I went back, and he was at the wall with the cops. Like, these people had called the cops on him, and he's fucking crying his eyes out. And I'd done a whole heap of tags of dreams, and probably chucked up my cousin and stuff like that. And what does it fucking say, you little shit? And he's like, it's like, fuck your mum, suck shit. And he's just bawling his eyes out, crying, like, I'm sorry.
But he's still telling him to get fucked.
Yeah. So it says, fuck your mum and all this kind of, I'm like, fuck, they're like, where's your mate? And I just walked out. I felt so fucking bad, He was just a little kid. I've made him go out.
Because you were the instigator.
Oh, yeah. It wasn't good. But anyway, they didn't do anything. They just dragged us home, and our mums got together, and I think that Jordan's mum got some paint together, and we had to go back down to the Dunnies and paint the Dunnies in front of all the other kids at the park, and as if that was going to make us learn our lesson. It's just made things fucking worse,
For sure, because when you're that age, they're like, why are you painting that? You're like, because we got done doing graff. They're like, cool, you know what I mean? Like that, if anything, that kind of makes you like, I'm doing this.
I was just so annoyed that like this adult dude was like so pissed off that he wanted to fucking come out and tackle a kid to the ground, and what do you fucking think you're doing? I'm calling the cops on you, you little shit, and blah blah blah. But
in an area that's pretty fucking bombed anyway, man.
Yeah.
Like,
I think it was also MSA Remember also MSA? He used to do the throwies everywhere. He'd bomb the fucking shit out of the dunnies already. So, but
You're just adding to it.
it was just adding to it.
So after that, you think, all right, well, I'm gonna ditch Dreams, or Dreams is still a thing.
Nah, dreams were still a thing all the way, probably till I left school, man. Maybe.
How old were you when you left school?
Fuck, man. I think I left 99. Year 9.
Year 9, yep.
Yeah. Well, and mate, year 7 was probably the only year I hung around at school until I figured that no one turned up. You sort of turned up and left. Mm-hmm. Everyone went and done their thing. Wagging was the thing we did come 98, you know.
So what are you doing in 98 before you you leave? You just turn up school.
Turn up,
check
you do loops. So I'd probably walk down to Bella pretty early. I'd leave home pretty early. Walk down to Bella, do a few loops, Sandy Line, and then head out to South Yarra. And then it was you'd loop the express trains from South Yarra to Melbourne.
Before 9 o'clock?
Before 9 o'clock.
Right. So just commuters on there and whatever?
No. So that early, it was hardly ever anyone.
Wouldn't be like that now, would it? It'd be different now.
Different now, probably. I'm not too sure. But back then, on those express trains, there's no one on them. To South Yarra to Melbourne, then you get the next one back.
Just insides the whole way.
Insides the whole way.
30 mils?
30s, 50s, all of them, mate.
Whatever they had at the news agency.
Yeah, whatever they had at the news agencies. Yeah.
And so Dreams was still, so you're just doing that insides, and then you go to school, do your thing.
Go to school.
Check in.
Well, no, go to school, check in. Probably skating back then. So like sale yards was a big thing back then.
Yeah.
Everyone would meet up and either go skate South Bank or sale yards. St Kilda Road was probably more the weekends when it was dead, you know, no one in the offices and stuff like that.
People forget, and I bring it up all the time, how much you just go skate like fucking St Kilda Road on the weekend because there was no skate parks.
No.
And there was ledges and stairs as for
the whole
way, and you start in the city, you could skate all the way back to St Kilda.
Yeah.
To the junction.
Yeah.
And then they started coming up with skate stoppers and sort of changed things.
Yeah, but you still had all the stairs and stuff like that, and I think what was it, Country Road Car Park was a big one. Man, I remember when you had Jaffa, like listening to Jaffa on here, and going and watch him get I think it was Slam magazine.
Yeah,
he did I think it was Crooked Grind down the 12 stair there. We were there, like watching him.
Yeah,
you know.
And he talks about that. I think that trick in particular. He's like, I visualize it, so I just had to get there.
Man, it was massive back then. It was huge. Country Road was a good spot.
Yeah,
for skating.
And it was sort of like hidden away enough, but it's still right in the city, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Like in Cremorne, where you wouldn't, if you didn't know where you're going, why would you ever go there?
Yeah.
Into a fucking industrial bit out.
And there wasn't a whole lot. I think there was a 7 stairs, 12 stairs. There was a car park gap. That was over a garden bed down to a step down, and then a marble block. And that was sort of it. But it was mint. It was a good hangout spot.
I think by 99, maybe Camberwell had opened up about 2099, but that was it. For concrete skate parks in the city, they just didn't exist.
No. Well, it was sale yards before that, and then
sale yards was that closed I think in 2000.
Oh, was it?
I think so.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
We didn't have anywhere to go.
Yeah. Me
and some of my mates on Vosto and that, we used to catch the V-Line train to Geelong and then go to Warren Ponds. Catch the bus to Warren Ponds.
Mate, that's a mish.
From Port Melbourne.
Yeah. And then not be able to skate half the shit that's fucking in there.
Oh, no, they had a really cool, like, sort of spine ramp and a few... That was... I don't know. That was super fun. Anyway, we're getting off topic.
Yeah.
So you're going to school to an extent... You're checking in.
Yeah, checking in. So year 7 was probably the year I did go to school. And I didn't mind school. I loved my primary school. Like growing up with a few of the old heads that I grew up with.
St Kilda Primary is different to going to...
High school
different.
High school was a different game.
Because a lot of the kids that you would have grown up with would have gone to Elwood or they would have gone to fucking CBC.
Elwood, Caulfield Grammar.
Yeah.
I wasn't going to Caulfield Grammar.
But a lot of people we knew did.
Yeah.
That's the thing it's interesting for people that grow up in the area that we sort of grew up in, that sort of inner city spot. a lot of kids that even parents have money, they still go to the public primary school.
Yeah.
It's not till high school that they all go there.
Yeah.
I think a lot of the parents think we're not wasting the money on the private primary school.
Yeah.
And then once it gets to high school, they're like Elwood, Caulfield, Xavier, fucking whatever, Wesley. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's what happens.
Wesley's
and they all go.
Yeah.
St Michael's.
St Michael's, Melbourne Grammar. You know?
They all disappear.
Yeah.
But then, so I'm guessing a lot of primary school is different. High school happens, you go there, then you're like, fuck, well, I'm not doing school, really.
I'm not doing
So
school. I struggled high school, like heaps. Plus that environment there was just like a fucking gang meet up every fucking day at that school, you know?
Yeah. So you reckon it was doing more trouble than good?
That school, for sure. Back then, yeah. Now I think it's doing good things, you know? But back then it was just a melting pot of fucking of different gangs, really, from different areas. Oakley Wogs, you had the Vietnamese from the flats, you had, you know, a few guys from Caulfield.
So the racial thing was definitely something.
It was there. It was
big
there.
divide, you reckon?
At that school, it was, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So who are you siding with in that sort of stuff?
Oh, we had a few Islanders. Mate, Topes was there. But again, mingling with the riders, like, bro, I didn't give a fuck who you were, you know? If that's what you were doing, that's what we were doing, you know?
Yeah. And then so eventually you leave in year 9. And what do you do?
Mate, that's when I started hanging out with the older heads, probably high school, starting to notice. You know, I think Topa Biceps, he was year 10. You know, when I
And
was
you
in year
are
7.
related to him in a way?
Oh, family friends. Grew up
Family
playing rugby league and all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Again, the Māori community, being in St Kilda, everyone knows each other.
And he would look after you being a bit older?
All that, yeah. Showed me and that's when I started to learn the ropes of graffiti.
Right.
Know?
He's showing you how it works.
He was showing me, but I was doing my own thing at the same time. I'm getting my ears clipped a few times by him because I was going out and putting me Guernseys in like TGC pieces and shit as if I was fucking there with them. And
Right.
mate, what are you doing?
So he's schooling you on how to do it.
All that stuff, but still, I don't give a fuck, you know.
But I think some of the older guys would have been like, man, we like this guy. He's fucking, you know.
Not back then, not then. Like it was like proper shitty Posca Guernseys in a burner, you know what I mean? And I just think I'm just doing no, I didn't know. I was just like, that's mint. I'm gonna fucking put mine just in the corner of his piece, you know.
He'll love it.
Yeah. Just getting up, you know.
So you leave school at year 9, you start doing that, and then you start, I guess, if you're not at school, fuck, what else are you going to do?
Yeah.
And you've caught the bug properly now, like you're running.
By then it's I'm hooked.
Right.
I'm hooked. That's what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Day in, day in, day out, like loops in the morning, all morning. Go meet up with whoever you needed to meet up with, and then probably hit the train, start heading out to outer suburbs and hitting all the Bunnings and BBC hardware.
Okay.
Is it BBC hardware?
I
They were the only ones that had plastic coats.
Right. So where are we, what suburbs is this, though?
Oh, you head out to Ringwood,
Yeah, see, it's a long way.
Nuttawading.
Out there.
Well, because they always had, like, they didn't really, the cages didn't exist back then, and no one was worried about kids coming in and racking all their paint, you know?
Yeah. So you just go out there with the fucking school bag or whatever, and you could go.
Well, just go out there full looking like a school kid and just no one would pay attention to you, sort of, you know? Yeah.
And then you've got your arsenal for the rest of the day, and then you paint. So are you painting actual trains? You're doing panels and stuff at this stage?
99. Far out. Maybe late 99, I think. It wasn't too long though, man. I think I got done on my second one.
Really?
Yeah, hard. Yeah.
So you'd be 14
Probably 99,
or
probably
15.
2000 as well.
So you're 14, 15, and you got done.
We got done, yeah. Yeah. In full raid, Carrum Yards. Caught the last train out, doing an all-nighter, 3 a.m. I think it was the Transit DSG back then. They were pretty hardcore. fucking arseholes back then.
But you're only kids. Or you're
We
a
are.
kid, but you're with...
I am. A few of the other dudes from school.
Yeah.
As well. I think there was 2 of us from school. Old Tribes.
Mm-hmm.
He was with us. Painting with him a fair bit. Biceps. Who else? Ribbit. Painting with him a bit back then.
So you get literally caught red-handed in the act.
Yeah.
So
They let dogs off in the yards. And they just waited on the outside. And
you're gone skis.
done, yeah. Had the shit kicked out of me. A few dudes got done by dogs.
Really?
Yeah.
So what happens with that? Then they literally charge you?
Yeah. I was charged with criminal damage. Threatened a lot with, my future and all this kind of fucking... There's a standard fucking...
Yeah. But you're still underage, so there's not really...
Nah, man. I'll be more worried about what the old man was going to do to me than what they could do. But... Again, just made things worse.
So that was... And you're still doing dreams then?
Nah, that was... I think it was income. I was writing that, and I got that from another mate growing up in the area in Windsor. He was out in Windsor.
Yeah.
Gaz, old Mary Gaz. You know Mary Gaz?
Mary Gaz. No.
Inks and Tweak.
I've seen, yeah.
DCA. And old AFK. And all old AFK heads and all that.
Yeah, so then and he gave you that word.
He gave me that, yeah.
But then you get busted with it, so
Yeah.
you go, oh, well, I'm going to
That's
fuck
done,
off.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But then, so after you get busted, you're like, all right, well, fuck, it's not going to stop me.
Nah.
Family, they're like, pull your head in.
Nah, well, I feel bad for Mum now thinking about it, but like she wasn't able to. Mate, I was this size then, and home life wasn't always the best at home, especially with the old man and the old lady. But yeah.
That seems to happen a lot with riders, though, man. They feel like I don't want to be at home, so I'll be out doing something that I feel like's more productive.
Yeah, for me it was. The old lady knew I was always into my art, and she used to let me paint the back shed and stuff like that at home when we were living in Balaclava. But yeah, it just got bigger, and that was from the first time I got done with Jordan. She was like, if you're going to paint anything, paint here. I can't stop you from doing it.
She's like, you don't seem to be that good about running from the cops. You get done, man.
Nah. But she used to let me paint, She sort of did encourage it, the art side of things,
So for you, was it more about the art or more about the destruction and the angstiness, or just both? All of it just spoke to you?
All of it spoke to me, but like the destruction, mate, when I bombed a train, I bombed it, When I went out bombing, I bombed. 100%, always. Pieces, panels. When I was doing it. I was going hard with it. Mm-hmm. Trying to, anyway.
Yeah. Well, the best you know how.
Yeah.
So after that, you get done, but you're like, well, you still got the fucking urge. You're still doing it.
Yeah.
The other dudes, are they still that keen, or are you just sort of...
A couple of guys from school dropped off.
That'd shake a few people up to be like, oh, I'm not into this.
It's not worth it.
Yeah.
And to look back now, like... It wasn't, but that's what I loved it.
Yeah.
I loved it. I loved the racking side of it. It's probably when it sort of died off for me, when you weren't able to gank your paint or anything like that anymore. Mm-hmm. But, yeah.
So then you start to do your own thing. Are you developing different words at this stage? Income still your thing after you get done?
After that was Gast.
And where did that come? Where'd you pull that from?
Man, my youngest brother used to watch Pokemon. And it was like a Pokemon character.
It was just called Gast.
Gastly.
Gastly.
Yeah.
Like the letters.
Like that. Yeah, like the letters. I like how like Pommies would say, oh, you're Gastly, man,
From like a pompous attitude.
Yeah.
Writing on the wall is Gastly and it needs to be removed. And you're like, yeah, it is.
Suck a bag of dicks.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay. So then you changed that. Then are you in any other crews at this stage? Or you still you've got your mates, but it's
Topes. He put us in DCA. He'd start us DCA, which was sort of like a runoff from AFK. I don't know if you remember AFK.
I'm no AFK, but yeah, I'm not a rider. I'm just
Sevs,
fucking,
Barks, Smogs,
Yes.
Bubble.
and they were around that
They were
Bella
like
area.
they were like all our older crew. Oh, you know, I think everyone was playing lacrosse at that fucking time. Remember that?
Everyone played lacrosse.
Went nuts.
Shane, the
90s,
everyone was playing.
yeah.
Also, was also a cool way for some heads that
PL, I think even they started a crew. PL play lax, you know.
they just wanted to have a stick in their bag a lot of the time as well.
Yeah, the disguised trolley pole.
Oh yeah, that's what it was. Now lacrosse was a big thing, wasn't it?
Yeah. Crew mate, heads did well.
Yeah,
I know crew that played Vic, played Australia. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it was a thing.
yeah.
So then,
But that was their little crew. I think. Well, it wasn't little. They were getting up like between Paran, Bella, Sandy Line was smashed by them. Same with like Frankston's, probably South Yarra, from South Yarra to Malvern to Caulfield. All those areas smashed it, you know.
yeah, and then so you've pulled your word now. You're going out. You're doing your thing. You're getting up a bit. People start to notice you. You get a little bit of notoriety. At the same time, you're still like 15,
Yeah.
maybe 16.
Nah, 15. Still
young,
early
man.
days. Still early days. Yeah.
So at 15, people start to notice what you're doing, and then crews start to go, well, this guy is showing a bit of gusto. Also, for what people probably don't know, at that stage you're like fully grown like you are now.
Yeah. Well, I was playing a lot, but mate, outside of all that as well, I was playing rugby.
Yeah.
Flat out.
What position?
I was a winger or a centre.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is a pretty mobile position.
Yeah. Had the legs, just not to get away that night.
Rugby's a very evasive game. That's what it's all about. It's about running it. Yeah. So you're playing rugby as well. You're painting, and then because I remember as someone who's a little bit older, I remember people were like, "Man, Tana is in." We say your name. Man, this dude's in FMC and he's only like 15, and I'm man, that's young for like a pretty fucking well-known crew.
Yeah. Well, so hanging out with a few heads in Paran area, like all the older AFK dudes, you know, a few other heads started to turn up in the scene, hanging out at the gazebo, Paran.
Yep.
Started to meet a few of the older riders, you know. So at school there was a few like decent bombers, and if they weren't from my school, they were from Swinney.
Yep.
Swinburne was another fucking
school.
melting pot of fucking riders, you know.
Yep.
Like, yeah, and
for people that don't know, the gazebo is sort of behind Chapel, and really close to Obese, right?
near Obese, just off Greville Street.
Greville Street, like Grattan Street.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's you got a bottle shop right there. You got Paran
Yeah.
Station. You got fucking Paran Skate Park.
Yeah.
You got everything you sort of need.
Yeah. There's a big sort of meeting spot back then. If we weren't in Bella and if we were going out and drinking anywhere, that was the spot for some fucking reason. And it was like the new age maybe riders bench, you could fucking call it, you know.
I was thinking about it the other day. Remember when Chapel Street Festival used to happen back in the day? That was just like, it would just be like, there's just a few heads here and there's a fucking nice clean wall, and then it was just trashed in like 2 seconds. And that man, they tried to bring that back, but I think it's just always going to be too problematic.
The hip hop section always ended that. Yeah. Ended those ones. I think Brunswick Street Festival had the same fucking thing, man. I remember Taunts. I think it was Taunts. Do you remember the Tear? Mm-hmm. I think it was fucking Taunts. I think he might have been on stage for some reason, and the Jacks like fucking pulled him off stage. The crowd was starting to get fucking hectic, and I think it was Tear the cops are trying to calm the crowd down, and Tear's launched a fucking full can of Jack like straight at these Jacks. Just slammed him in the head, and the crowd's going fucking nuts. And I think it was Taunts that ended up in the divvy or something like that
Because he was on stage.
Yeah, I think it was Taunts.
Even thinking back, remember the old St Kilda Festival when you could buy booze from just the bottle shops?
Yeah.
And that wasn't even that long ago.
Yeah.
Like you could just go
and then just walk the streets with your booze.
around, and that ended where now there's dry zones and you can't. The bottle shops don't open. But
what was it? St Kilda Festival was up on the hill. Everyone always met on the hill there.
When that building was there, that was Twister.
Oh, yeah. Opposite there, yeah.
Good times.
Yeah.
All right, so you're hanging out at the gazebo, you're meeting other riders and that sort of
Meeting
thing.
other riders, a lot of older riders.
Do people know that you're 15 at this stage? Because you're not going to school and you look pretty old, right?
No, I don't think so. I don't think I ever mentioned my age or anything like that, but yeah.
But they know that. But that also goes to show that you're doing a fair bit for someone who's not 18. With a lot of these other dudes are probably fucking,
Oh, they're mid-20s,
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you're a younger dude in this scenario that either works for you because they're like, fuck, man, this kid's doing a lot at that age.
Yeah.
Or they're like, oh, man, we don't want to hang out with school kids. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I think, for my age, I was probably a bit older. And to be honest with you, I grew up like that.
Yeah.
Just in the household I grew up in, Mum, we're doing all the clean up after ourselves and all that kind of stuff. My mum grew up sort of, pretty well a single parent. Dad was in and out all the time, and she was just pretty strict with us on, just getting your shit together and being independent,
So when you start hanging out there, how does the FMC thing come? Like, how do you become part of that? Who are you meeting from that crew?
That was Croc and Tomates back then. 2 brothers.
And they saw promise in you as a young rider?
As a rider, yeah. At that time, as a rider, yeah.
And they sort of said, come with us a little bit.
Yeah, start.
As someone, I don't know how this shit works.
Yeah.
Do they say prove yourself, or they sort of say, well, how does it work?
It was never fucking prove yourself or anything like that. It was just we're already going hard. I was painting flat out with Drazzy back then.
Yep.
He was me 5'8". He couldn't separate us back then.
Yep.
And especially when we went Croc and Tomates, and it was just bombing, hitting a lot of trains and stuff like that.
Yeah. So you're painting panels regularly now.
Then yeah, which turned into fucking racking cars and getting around like that as well. To get your paint and to get to the yards and shit like that. Yeah.
Run us through how it works. Someone who's a 16-year-old, 15-year-old kid trying to do a panel, because you don't have access to a car. You got to go rack your paint.
Back then, because I wasn't going to school, I was bailing on school. You go out, do all your racking throughout the week, and man, you could clean up. I'd be filling school bags and racking more bags to fill more bags,
Right.
And you'd load up for the week, and usually a Saturday night you'd catch the last train out to wherever you were fucking going, and you were doing all-nighters.
Right.
To paint trains.
With your bags and bags of paint.
On the train, man. Mm-hmm. Like the fucking most red light way of fucking doing any of it, but that's how I had to do it.
Because, and then once you do your thing, you got to wait for the next train.
Mate, the first train out.
At 6 a.m. or whatever.
Whatever, yeah. On a Sunday, mate, it was even later. I think 8:30, 9 o'clock.
So you go do what you got to do, paint your piece, get out of there unscathed, go sleep in the park for a couple of hours.
In the park, on the side of tracks, near the station somewhere, where you're not going to be fucking seen, obviously. Still carting your paint around like a fuckwit.
Basically walking around with a bag of evidence.
Yeah. With your racked fucking disposable camera,
Well,
wait for the first train to come out, and then you'd sit at Richmond waiting for it to roll out,
Yeah, well, that's the thing. People often talk about that spot at Richmond where everyone would wait to get like fucking flicks of their pieces.
Yeah.
If the cops know what they're doing, that's where they're going to fucking look.
You just wait there, but it didn't happen like that.
Sorry, man, I hit the wrong button. So, in hindsight, you were pretty red hot, but you don't know. You're just doing it.
I didn't know. I at that stage, I didn't know. No,
but you just...
No, that's showing my age,
And are these trains running then? Because this is sort of 99, 2000.
Yeah.
They are.
Yeah. Yeah, you probably get a couple of days if you're lucky sometimes.
Really?
Yeah.
And are we talking sort of like window down stuff?
Window downs.
Yeah. And will they run longer than something that sort of covers the windows?
Some of them did, I guess. Yeah. Some of them did.
Man, this all
luck of the draw, really, man. Like something, you know. Actually, no one could call you because no one had sort of fucking phones back then. But you'd hear about it, you know. And again, hanging out in the circles, you know, someone would roll up to gravel or something like that, and fucking train's still running. You know, what line's it on? And if it was Bayside, it'd either be Frankston, Dandy, or Sandy. You know,
right.
So it was easy to sit at South Yarra or Richmond and wait for it to come through. You know.
Yeah, but but who knows? They could run that train through the city and it could end up on the other side of town.
Nah, Hillside had their own side usually. Because remember they had the Mark trains, Hillside, and then you had like Metro on our side,
yeah, Metro,
sort of thing.
okay.
Yeah,
Connex was
all that. Yeah. Connex was more Hillside.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
different trains.
Yeah. Or different signage, but yeah.
Different stuff. All right, so then you're doing that, and then do you think, fuck, man, I'm just going to keep doing this. This is what it is. What's the end goal for that stuff, man? You just keep punting trains. More and more.
Man, with the crew I was hanging out with then, like, yeah, that's what it was all about then.
That's it?
That was all of it.
that
was my life. I lived and breathed it. I loved it.
And then... so then you're
FM, we're rolling with a few FM heads, MSA, start meeting a few of the TSF boys, and rolling with a few of them.
So FMC, someone says, mate, you're doing a good job in this caper.
Yeah.
You're going to chuck us up, and you just go, yeah, all right.
Yeah.
Is that how it works?
Yeah.
There's no crazy, like, you got to go do fucking 500 throwies in one weekend or anything like that?
Nah. Well, I was sort of maybe already doing that, you know. So,
you'd already proved yourself.
Yeah.
Because in hindsight, and I don't know the official numbers, but people have said that you were probably the youngest guy to be sort of jumped into FMC as someone who's 50.
I think so. Like, man, all the guys that I knew that were in it were, like, you know, late 20s, which was, you know, a lifetime away from me.
Yeah.
You know, these kids are growing up in the 80s and stuff, you know.
And and you're
bombing hard, you know.
And you're essentially 15. They're in their late 20s. That may as well be someone who could be your dad. Like that's a fucking.
Back then, it was sort of was.
Like, yeah, right.
Yeah.
So did you feel young?
Nah, not then. Nah. To look back on it now, like, I fucking couldn't imagine my children hanging out with dudes that age.
That's the thing that's crazy, I mean? Isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. But again, like, you know, getting out of home really early, getting out of school real early, you know, I was like just always pushing towards that way anyway.
Yeah. And then you're racking paint, obviously, to do that.
Oh, mate, I was racking everything.
Everything. Because you're not going to school, you're not working.
Going to school, didn't have. I had little jobs here and there, every now and then, you know, but nah, racking everything
just to get by. But just what you need, by.
Yeah. And
that's at that stage before cameras and shit takes over. That's pretty much a way of life for people.
Yeah. That's just phones and all that. There was no phones or anything like that either.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, they're starting to sort of creep up.
Was it?
Yeah, I reckon.
2000. Yeah. Well, only a few people had them. I didn't fucking have them.
I'll tell you a funny story when we're not recording though about it. Anyway,
you'd have to do the old fucking, you know, pay phone, like call someone's phone, whoever had a phone, you know.
Yeah.
Like quickly.
I remember.
Ring Toast's phone. Like, someone's phone to start ringing, you know.
Yeah, I remember mates of ours who would get done. Their mum would crack the shits because they'd ring up a fucking phone bill. They didn't have a mobile. They're ringing everyone's mobile back in those days.
Yeah.
But just to think now, we've got basically free phone calls all the time.
Yeah. Well, the payphones are even free now. Like the kids do prank calls off the payphones.
Yeah, that's come full circle, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Who's hanging around at payphones these days?
I don't know.
The wrong cunts, basically.
Trying to get their Wi-Fi from it and shit.
Yeah, well, do you know what? I've got a theory with all that shit. The only reason why they keep those things is because they've got the advertising on the back. Yeah. So that's why they add the Wi-Fi and all that stuff that they want to do, because they just can't get rid of them because they're basically billboards.
True.
Or a place for junkies to stash theirs. That's about it.
Yeah.
All right, let's get back onto your journey, man. So you're in FMC now. You're 15 years old. You're racking. You're painting. You're going hard. It's a pretty hectic existence for a 15-year-old kid. So then what happens next in your story? You just do that for an extended period of time.
Man, that goes on for years like that.
Years.
A few years, yeah.
And are you compiling flicks? Are you...
All that, yeah.
All that sort of stuff?
I mean, really, in the end, I think now, thinking about it now, it was always just for the flicks, you know? Otherwise, if you go all out to get that fucking flick, you know? You go back into yards.
Really?
If you missed it at a fucking... at Richmond or something, or for some reason they ran it fucking early, or for some reason... it didn't come out of the yard, you'd fucking sneak back in there just to get your fucking flicks again, you know?
Which is crazy.
It's fucking stupid, but yeah.
Returning to the scene of the crime.
Yeah.
But no, so during that period of you hitting the trains pretty hard, did any other close calls or anything? Or you start to learn your craft a bit better so you're not getting that sort of stuff. You know where the seckies are doing their runs, you know, that
Doing
sort
all
of
that, yeah. Probably not even painting too much at night. A lot of it become Sundays.
Oh, you
Early
just
morning Sundays.
Right.
Yeah, man. Most yards are full Sundays. Mate, I used to catch the front carriage into Sandy, waiting for the driver to get out. He'd walk up the other end of the yard and I'd jump out the in-between, jump through 3 rows of trains, do a galv, wait for the next train to come back in, jump back in and catch the train out.
No.
That was solo missions.
Yeah, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Used to try and pull that off most Sundays.
It's like a sport.
A little bit, yeah. Yeah.
You still playing rugby at this stage?
Then, yeah, flat out. Man, I made the Melbourne Storm junior side.
Really?
Under 21s when I was 16, yeah.
You do a lot of stuff when you were young, man.
Man, I was sort of fucking out of home by then. Staying on a few couches here and there. Working. I think I was working nights at a restaurant. Tried to start an apprenticeship, but yeah, it was too hard then to sort of get it all in one. But yeah,
so
trying to do the right things on the side as well.
Yeah, you're trying to do the right thing. But the graffiti thing just
took over.
Yeah, you haven't.
I couldn't shake it.
You couldn't. Yeah.
No.
And I guess when you're good at racking, you're good at doing it. You learn, and you can do it solo or whatever, and things run. You're like, all right, well, I can do this in my sleep almost.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, there was other little rewards as well. I think to get money, rack bottles, Cougar bottles, they were easy to tag, and you'd be able to sell those for $20
at the rotunda, at the fucking gazebo or whatever.
Wherever, yeah. Wesley kids were always up for fucking buying cheap bottles, you know. They were the only ones with coins, so.
At that spot, there was a bit of a Wesley hangout there as well.
Yeah, man. A few of them were cool dudes to roll with. Yeah.
It was interesting.
It was a good mix of cats there, you know. It was like it was just another mix of just heads that were down for the scene, I guess.
There was a dude who lived right there in that park, basically, man, from Wesley.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I know what you're talking about.
Sick house.
Yeah. I was good mates with him for a while too.
Yeah, crazy.
Him and his brothers, yeah.
Yeah. Good. You're hanging around I'm just trying to keep this on some sort of a linear passage. You're 15-ish now, right?
Yeah.
And then you're hanging out. Your base is sort of Bella and then, in Paran, but you start to go wherever, right?
You start venturing out.
Out. Who are you partnering up with? Who are you painting with? What are you doing? Where are you going? As a 15-year-old kid now who's got a few panels under his belt and also in one of a very established, respected graffiti crew now.
Mm-hmm. Who am I painting with?
Yeah. Well, what's happening? And you get because you work a lot of that early stuff. You're on the Sandy Frankston sort of lines.
Probably more Sandy.
Right?
Probably more Sandy, yeah.
And then you start venturing out a little bit more after that.
Yeah. So 98, I moved out to Hampton. Start meeting a few Sandy heads and stuff like that out that way, but still coming straight back. Mate, moving to Hampton was so heartbreaking to me to move away from the area and from all the boys and stuff like that. And it was just a different fucking planet out there, you know?
Yeah.
just like the fucking Brady Bunch feel, you know? It's like fucking
But yeah,
there's like nothing coming from Jackson Street to Bella to all of a sudden moving to fucking, you know?
yeah, there's not much going on there.
Not much going on. So,
It's
so
quiet
every day, same thing, back on the train, get into Bella, meet up with crew, or get into Moran, do your thing in the morning, and then back out on the rack, you know?
What we haven't mentioned is Little Hustlers yet. That was
True.
definitely the hangout for that sort of period.
That period and probably even before us, I think, you know? I think because like TGC was a big thing before me, and now they were doing a whole heap of shit. Like those were the pieces I was fucking looking up to.
Yep.
Outside of those guys from Sandy to Frankston line, it was Impact for me was a big one. Gunshot. So even leading before even being in FMC, like I was seeing all of KSA, FMC stuff, pistol, guns, Impact, dribbles. Those were my go-to, you know. And then there was, you know, Shem with all the Rock the Cities with Jaws and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Fucking crazy stuff.
Yeah.
Gyro, Braider. I think Bella, the main one in Bella was, I think there was a few nab pieces. Adidas. Remember Adidas?
I remember there's one Adidas piece on the line there.
Yeah, well, he had nearly every single fucking rooftop in Bella. Who else? Rush. Sam was even fucking big back then with the bombing. And then bombing, you know, RB7. This is a fucking psycho, you know?
Yeah.
Who the fuck does that?
That was funny because at that time, words were words.
Yeah.
And that was just like initials. And you're like, oh, wow.
Yeah. I think it was like... We met him, man. He started hanging out. I think he was coming down to Greville as well at one stage, you know?
Yeah.
And I think it was just a seat at the soccer or some shit with RB7, like the number of a seat or some shit like that. I'm not entirely sure, but I think that was the fucking rumour, but whatever, he got up, man, you know?
But
like fucking smashed it.
Yeah, it was up a lot at that period of time. But for people that don't know that, like, Little Hustlers was like a video game joint.
Pinny parlour.
Pinny parlour. But at that stage, there's no pinball machines. It was Street Fighter and stuff.
Oh, we had Street Fighter. Didn't we have pinball machines?
Yeah,
pool tables.
Point Blank.
Point Blank was a big one. Yeah. Daytona.
Yeah, all that sort of stuff. So, and that was a hangout, like right next to Bella Station. Which now, I think it's Yochi or whatever.
Is it?
Yeah, you know, like the way you weigh your yogurt. It's that.
Nah, I don't know.
Yeah. You got school kids, you know that.
Yogurt?
You got to weigh your yogurt.
I'm hanging out at fucking Yogi, that's for sure.
That's what I'm pretty sure it's Yochi now. But yeah, it was just a spot where everyone would just go. It was a pinball parlour. You hang out, and they kind of let cunts just sort of do whatever.
Yeah,
to an extent.
Oh, shit was going on there. Yeah,
a lot of those places around.
Unfortunately, like that was where fucking a lot of dudes got hooked on the gear and shit. You know.
Yeah, and that's inevitably what happens to a lot of riders. From what I can see, is that, you know, you're doing stuff you probably shouldn't be doing with the trains. You've got a lot of idle time. You're racking stuff. Drugs have to come into it at some stage.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it does. Yeah,
and that's what happens. Yeah. But you want to try and, I guess, you're young. You want to try and stay out of that because that's going to take you away from what the focus is just to do more trains.
Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah.
Are you doing track sides as well, or just trains as the main focus?
No, trains, track sides, all of it.
Everything.
Whole you sort of had to. Not had to, but like it was all part of it, you know.
Just keep doing it.
Keep doing it.
Yeah. And so then, from that sort of era, is more crime come into it? What do you do? Because you're not going to school.
Yeah, well, I mean, crime's already involved, you know. You're breaking and entering, you're fucking racking, you're doing all those fucking things, you know. You're already on your way, you know. But as a rider, you know, you're trying to do it without being fucking seen. Or as much as you want your name out there, you don't want anyone to know who the fuck you are as well.
Yeah, but people...
It's a fucking weird, warped fucking thing riders have, you know. It's fucked.
It is. You want to be anonymous, but you want to be infamous at the same time. It is a kind of contradictory thing.
dude, hard. Yeah.
Because it's like, what's the point of doing all this shit if the people
Don't even know who you
don't know who I am?
Yeah.
So it's kind of like you go to a party, people say, "Oh, that's Gas," but then you're like, "Well, don't say it too much because I don't want everyone to know." Like it's a fucking weird one.
Yeah.
And that's the fucking game.
Yeah.
Strange.
Mega strange.
But the whole thing that I find really interesting about graffiti and people that go really hard is you're a dude who's confident, you're personable and likable as yourself without graffiti.
Yeah.
But some people go out there, create this persona just on walls and trains that they're not actually, that's not them. They put out this like big, fucking, I'm a bright, colourful, you know what I mean?
Some of those dudes are the best fucking riders.
They are, but that's not reflective of who they are, if you know what I mean. But so people
you meet riders over the years and you think, fuck, it's that dude. You know? Like, what the fuck?
You meet him.
Yeah. Cunt doesn't say nothing, you know? It's like, fuck.
But that
comes down to gravel and he's just fucking standing there, you know? Like, fuck.
Yeah, and that's the thing, because you can create a whole persona about yourself.
Yeah.
Like when we were younger, I would hang out, we'd go to parties and stuff. You'd just be fun to hang around with without the graffiti stuff.
Yeah.
But some people, that's their whole thing, you know?
Yeah.
That's the whole thing. They'd just be like, well, that guy does graff, and then he sits in the corner, and that's it. You know? Which, it does happen.
Yeah.
It's strange.
Yeah.
But you can create a persona like for yourself. You can make something bigger than you out there.
Yeah.
And that's what a lot of these dudes do.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was saying to you at the start, you know what I mean? Like to have me on here, you know, like I know there's a lot of other riders that have done so much more for the fucking scene than what I ever fucking did ever, you know?
But your story is still interesting, man. You were in it at a very young age, and then like you are somebody who people know, and graffiti. Like, okay, so how many girls do you reckon you've painted in your life? A fair few, right? Which is probably a lot more than most other riders out there. So you're kind of talking yourself down a little bit.
Oh, nah, but if you want to talk about fucking trains, like, you know, we got dudes in the crew that have fucking killed it for years, you know. But the amount was like, I'm nowhere near it.
But don't talk yourself down, though.
Yeah,
you still did some stuff at a young age as well.
Yeah.
And the thing is, we haven't got to this stage of your story yet, but eventually you mature to have a family, right?
Yeah.
With a lot of people with that graffiti game, they don't get to that stage.
Nah.
You know?
No, it's unfortunate.
Whatever reason, you know, and some people just, whether it's...
Man, I was there. I was on that fucking path, bro.
Yeah.
You know?
And
like
so,
hard.
So what point does that path stop? Do you think, fuck, this isn't the way for me?
I would have been when I met my wife, man.
Right.
Yeah.
And how old are you then?
When I met her, probably for the first time, I probably would have been, like when I first met her, probably like 18-ish or something like that. Probably moving down to where like living in Hampton and stuff, and then starting to get meet a few heads around that area.
And then she starts to say, this isn't the way to do it.
Well, no, I'm not with her then. I've met her.
You met her?
Yeah.
Like, this is the goal.
Potentially, yeah. Like Brady Bunch shit, you know?
But then you've still got a bit more maturing to do.
Heaps more,
right.
Yeah.
But you figure that this is, if I could wife this chick, I can do my Brady Bunch stuff.
No, I'm nowhere even near it then.
You're nowhere near it. All right, let's get back on the journey then. Let's get back on the journey.
Yeah.
So, right, so you moved to Hampton, 16 yet. Are you 16 yet?
98. So 98. No, what's that? 14?
Mate, you can't be 14 for your whole life.
I'm not. But like back then, like when I moved to Hampton, I think I was 40. I think it was 98 or something.
Right, 98.
Like that.
Okay,
Like,
so right, 98. So hang on, we're jumping around a bit. Yeah. So are you at Hampton? You're riding. You're in FMC.
Still riding
FMC. At a young age.
Greville Street is where it's at. Bella's where it's at. We're still fucking rolling around there. Heads are still living there. You know, old Etnies and shit like that. It's flat out of this joint.
Well, yeah,
the Flash.
Yeah. Old Etnies.
He was there. He was just up the road from us.
He was, yeah.
Every time you got off the fucking train, he was at fucking the Street Fighter machine, you know.
Yeah. What about Shay?
He's there.
He's there.
He's just up the road, yeah.
He wasn't far away.
No. No.
Whole gang.
Yeah.
Goblet.
And that Gobs was there, Moose was there, you know. Well, he got moved out of the area. They moved to Elsie, you know.
Yeah, which seemed like a long way away. It's not really.
Yeah, it was a train right away. But it did enough. It was enough for him to get out there and fucking sort himself out. You know, he went through some fucking shit, and his mum wanted him out, and yeah,
look at him now.
Here we are now. We're still mates, good mates. You know,
good guy, man.
40 fucking years on, man. I've been mates with him since kindergarten, man.
Yeah, he's a legend, man,
for sure.
Champion. All right, let's get back on the graff journey. Graff journey. So you probably lose a few years, but you're just punching trains, doing. That's just what happens, right?
Yeah.
And then, more pinching cars. What?
14 to 16 was like all graff, all rack. Roll into fresh mess. Still doing a lot of graff, but then a lot of the other shit starts to fucking come to light. You know, all the drug scene and all that kind of shit.
Are you dabbling?
Probably a little bit, just at 16.
Which is still young to be fucking with anything, though.
Yeah. So probably hitting the piss a lot more then as well, or probably only getting into the piss. But I think once I started doing that, that's when I started doing everything. It was all in.
Right.
Everything's always all in with me.
Yeah.
It's been like that my whole fucking life.
Yeah. And that's... Do you think it's a genetic thing?
Oh, I don't know, man. If you're going to do something, do it fucking properly, you know?
Makes sense. So you start doing that. And this is the other thing. We're in an interesting area there where there is a lot of the private school people and the kids that aren't even going
Well,
to
that
school.
was another thing, man. I think, like, looking back on it as an adult now, like, I think I've seen a lot of, like, what a lot of other fucking people had that I didn't fucking have. And I was, like, probably just trying to keep up, man. You know, really. Trying to keep up in the fucking scene. Trying to do the fucking graff thing. Trying to look the fucking part when you roll out in some fresh fucking kicks and a Nautica fucking jacket or whatnot, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I didn't have coin for any of that stuff, you know?
No. And it was a very different... You got people that have got a lot of everything and you got people that don't have much. All really
that.
close together.
Yeah.
And I think with that whole sort of extended crew, did pretty well of people that were affluent kids and people that had nothing. Kind of hung out a lot.
They mingled, man.
A lot.
Skating had a lot to do with it. You know, everyone wanted to fucking skate. The other dudes wanted to ride.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah. Especially hanging out with Paran and meeting a few of the Wesley kids and shit like that, cynics and all that, man. Painted fucking heaps with him, man. You know?
Yep.
Become good friends at one stage there, man.
What happened to him?
I don't know, man. I think I might have started getting a bit fucking loose.
Because he went to Wesley, I remember
He went to Wesley, man.
Yeah.
Mad snowboarder. All those fucking crew were, man.
Yeah. 16. Let's say you're 16 now, yeah?
16, yeah.
16. Still doing the same thing.
Still doing the same thing, probably getting into the piss a bit more, drugs and all of that. Meeting new heads down Gravel Street. Gravel Street, if we weren't at Gravel Street, man, Bunks was just around the corner as well.
Yep.
He was on, what's the street fucking Obese was on?
Izette Street.
He was like on the other side of Gravel. Like there, opposite the fucking Freemason building. They copped it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, he had a joint there.
What a spot, man.
Mate, it was hectic. There's some shit. There's some big parties going on there. And if I wasn't there, I got pushed out to fucking Gravel Street or...
So, yeah.
Yeah.
But at this stage, you're still a kid who's not even... You can't even buy booze if you tried to.
I didn't have to worry about that.
I know that, but it's just to put into perspective, a lot's happened before you've even got to the age where you're supposed to be doing this sort of shit. So you've lived the life already.
Yeah. I wouldn't, yeah.
Old at heart.
Yeah, but yeah, I wouldn't say I lived the life. It was, I thought it was a fucking norm then, you know.
Yeah, to an extent, it sort of was.
Yeah,
but yeah, you.
I didn't see it any fucking different. I just thought that's how riders were coming up, you know.
Yeah, and is there beef between riders that you're seeing? Because you've got this few letters attached to your name, is that helping you?
Well, yes and no. You know, Fresh Mess had some kind of stigma. Is that what you call it? Already attached to it, and
you inherit that,
sort of, I guess. But it might have been the way I was bombing and the way I was going about graffiti anyway. You know, is probably why I ended up in it. You know, mate, still rep it to this day. I always will. That was my first crew, and that'll be the last one I fucking die with. You know,
it's pretty fallen when you say that a crew of that stature has that much heritage behind it is your first crew. Because most people come up with something with their mates at school, but at that stage you were...
Well, it was DCA that type sort of put us in to fucking keep us active and away from fucking bombing all the fucking sick cunts fucking pieces, you know?
Very early days, yeah.
Yeah.
And then how does TSF come into it?
Same thing, man. Probably more so when we start getting into painting more trains and shit like that. And that's when I'm probably rolling around with Drazzy a fair bit.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then, so you just gain... People just figure out, okay, they see this name, they meet this person, they just say, dude, jump on.
Yeah. Well, I mean, old Jizzo was around back then. Brunsy, Burks, Stop, you know?
Yeah.
These are all the older dudes that I'm sort of rolling with that are just fucking week in, week out, you know? If you wanted to be in the game, that's what you had to be doing.
Did you ever feel like you were doing it just to keep up appearances, but it just came so natural to you?
Not to keep up appearances, just to keep up with them, man. You know, that's what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
You know, that's what I thought. That was the be all or end all as a rider, sort of. That's what I thought. You know, and I was sort of repping Fresh Mess then. The crew were loving it. And then, you know, sort of started getting recognised more so by a few crew that were riders, you know. Fresh Mess had their own thing going on at that stage as well, you know, outside of graff.
Right.
Yeah.
That you weren't a part of because you're of the younger ilk.
No, I was getting amongst it
as
well with them. Yeah. Yeah.
At a young age.
At a young age, yeah.
Crazy, dude.
Yeah.
Crime kind of elevates at some stage.
Probably around then.
Around then.
Right? Around then. Yeah.
So then the art, the destruction takes a back seat to some of that stuff, or that is just part and parcel.
It was still there.
Yeah.
It was still there. It was just getting a lot messier, you know.
Yeah.
A lot more blatant, a lot more unthought of fucking nonsense, you know.
Because the substances are coming in, you don't care about.
You know, you're starting to not give a fuck, you know. And then all of a sudden, you know, you're getting into fucking gear, and then you're chasing more gear to fucking. You think you need the gear to fucking do the graff, you know.
Yes. Yeah.
You know, you're doing silly things to get the gear, you know.
And then I guess the whole, what comes first, the chicken or the egg? You get into this stuff because you want to go hard, and then you think, oh, I need the gear to go hard, and then you're like, what are we doing it for?
Yeah.
What's the eventual goal?
Oh, for me, I thought back then was to fucking paint more, but you know, at some stage there, man, it was just to get on it. You know, and that's where it sort of faded away from being about the graff.
And just crime takes over to an extent.
Crime took over. Again, crime was always there, but like it's just turned into other things and more drug orientated, you know. Unfortunately,
because there's two different aspects to crime at that sort of, you know, like kind of juvenile time. It's like you do it as a means to an end to get stuff, or you do it for a thrill. There's different kinds of shit. You know what I mean? So are you doing it for a thrill, or are you doing it just to get shit?
The gear,
or just the crime. Like, is it for the thrill? Like when people are pinching cars and stuff,
it was to get on.
Right.
Yeah. Get the whole crew on. Everyone can sort of get on and have a fucking party for a few months, and then a little bit of downtime if you haven't been pinched and fucking locked up. Yeah.
And then you start to see people inevitably drop off at this stage for, you know.
In the graff scene for me, yeah, for sure. Man, a lot of fucking people like dropping off. As an adult now, you know, you understand, but back then, I didn't think. I thought the crew was the be all or end all. You know.
Yeah, with the beauty of hindsight now, as a grown up who's got kids, you think, well, fuck, you take the right path here, but then you think, well, why is he dropping off? That's not what I do.
Yeah. You know, and I had a few crews take me under their wing or whatever you want to fucking call it, but you know, and I looked up to them, man. I loved them. You know.
Will you always be a graffiti writer at heart? You reckon?
Hard. It's fucked, especially like when you fucking moved down here. I moved down here, you know, down on the peninsula, and you know, thought I was getting away with it. Did a few fucking roofies and shit like that. And there's another old head down here, old EMP crew, Salem. He was down here, and funnily enough, knew me fucking in-laws, you know, and fucking. He's told me fucking father-in-law, like, tell Gas, you know, word up on the fucking roofie he's done down fucking Main Street, Sereno.
Yeah, you thought you just did that under the cover.
Oh, bad. Yeah. Like, no one fucking knows it. No one even gives a fuck about it down here, but I was just doing it for the fucking taste again, you know? And, fucking no, you still, you know, the father-in-law's rolled up inside and said, by the way, fucking Salem said word up on your fucking rooftop. I'm like, what? What are you talking about, mate? He's like, mate, I know you're still fucking active. I know people. They're telling me you're still active, you know. I'm like,
does he care or doesn't really?
No, he doesn't, but he was just joking around. He had no idea what he was fucking talking about. Rooftop, you know, fucking this and that, you know. Talking about an old footy head from fucking South Melbourne, you know.
Yeah.
He's just like trying to, mate, I'm fucking peeking. Like, how the fuck does this cunt know about this? You know, who the fuck's told him this? Come to find out, mate, they were our family friends growing up, you know. Anyway, gotten to know him. We're fucking good mates now to this day, you know.
Yeah, small world down here, man.
Yeah.
Can't get away with anything.
Nah, but like, yeah, and then I hear you're fucking down here and then go to your 40th and see a few heads, you know.
Not 40th, I'm older than that, but anyway.
Yeah, right.
It's just my birthday.
Yeah. But just to get around a few heads, you know, because you get fucking isolated living down here, you know. You forget about it, you know.
But there's two different ways to look at it. You do that because it's good, because you just want to, you don't need the hassle.
Nah.
But it's good to also get...
Sure, I can creep in, get something done, fucking go home.
That's it.
Do the dad thing, you know.
For sure. All right, let's get back on this has been good because we'll talk about peninsula stuff. Let's get back on your journey. So then, look, man, a few big things happen in the next couple of years in your life, like tragically stuff happens, right?
Man, that year I was 16.
Yeah.
Man, between 14 and fucking 17 was a bit of a fucking blur, but that's what was going on, you know?
Yeah. And so let's talk about the stuff that you may or may not want to bring up, but some shit happens, some tragic stuff happens, right?
Yeah.
Are you cool to talk about that?
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Okay.
It'll be a first, but yeah.
Well, so you haven't really spoken about that stuff?
Nah, man. Nah.
Are you cool to?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So people that may not... Well, yeah, it is a hard one because I haven't spoken to you about it. People talk about stuff, but some car accident shit happens, right?
I know it's always been on the fucking tip of fucking heaps of people's fucking tongues, you know?
Right.
And part of the main reason why I fucking moved away, you know, to try and get away from it all. But, yeah, I'm happy to talk about it, man.
Okay, let's talk about... So there's a fatal car crash that happens. Do you want to tell the story? Do you want me to ask about it? I don't want to say the wrong thing.
Ask about it. No, you can't say nothing wrong, man. I got nothing to fucking
Okay, so you're still a young guy. People are pinching cars and stuff, and inevitably that shit comes to a tragic end.
So most of the time, man, back then, like we're either racking cars to get into something or like to get. Fuck, you know, we clean out of Bunnings, for an example, you know, and fucking load boxings. I know Reset said the fucking story, but I don't even know whether he ever got into that shit, but. We're going into Bunnings, racking polos from fucking red polos from Kmart or whatnot, and rolling into Bunnings as if we were fucking workers, and just loading fucking, go out to the garden section, put it on a trolley, put a pottery, big giant pottery fucking box on a fucking trolley, roll it to the paint section and fill it like you were fucking working there.
Yep.
Push it out to the fucking garden section, come back that night in a hottie and fucking load it up.
That was just the way to do it.
At that stage, yeah, you know, trying to get whole cars done and shit like that, you know, you can't be out doing fucking school kid shit, like little backpacks with 3 cans at a time, you know.
You got to level it up.
Got to fucking Go big.
So then, so pinching cars is not abnormal. That's happening to facilitate that. But
That, fucking packing them into chemists and fucking loading those joints up.
Really?
All that shit, man, yeah.
Full on.
For the gear, man.
Yeah.
It's
crazy to think that at a young age, man, that you're that deep into it, though.
Yeah, it's a trip out to think about it now, but again, man, like I didn't I thought it was, man, I didn't question the crew. I was in the crew, man. I loved it. I love them, again,
Yeah.
As much as I'd like to change it, I wouldn't, I wouldn't have what I have now, but that's what I went through and that's what I did.
So inevitably this sort of, the pinch cars things, that there is a chase at some stage.
Yeah.
That happens, and there is tragic circumstances. Can you break it down a little bit?
In what sense?
Well, I don't know. I don't want to say the wrong thing. Do you want to talk about it?
Yeah, talk about it.
So you lost some friends, right?
Yeah.
All right, and that now is obviously a huge bookmark in your life, and people have lost their lives sadly.
Yeah.
And for people that don't know the situation, how did that sort of happen, man? And like, are you at the point now where you're willing to speak on that sort of shit?
Yeah, man. Again, just heading out, just doing that same thing, man. Heading out, get another car to fucking either do more graff or fucking sort out more gear. That was the life for everyone in that car at the fucking time.
Yeah, and so it's pretty much that happens all the time. You don't think of it as a different scenario. That is just what happens.
That's what was happening, especially with the crew that were in that car that night, including myself. It wasn't nothing out of the fucking norm.
Mm-hmm. And so,
unfortunately,
yeah,
we were fucking kids, but it was the norm.
So it ends badly, tragically.
Yeah.
So who survives that scenario besides yourself?
Suppose, which I didn't know at the time.
So when that happens, okay, so let's break it down. So the impact happens.
Yeah. High speed chase.
Right. So
high speed chase from fucking, I think it was Fran fucking somewhere out to Danny Road into Melbourne and stuck to somewhere in there.
And you come out of it okay, but you don't know what's going on at that point in time.
No, I know what's going on.
You knew?
Yeah. We were at a high-speed chase, fucking hit a pole, probably like 80 clicks or some shit like that.
Mm.
Had a look around, and to me, at the time, man, everyone was fucking dead in the car,
Which is fucking, that's a lot to take in. So you think you're like, I'm okay, but
nothing. I walked away from it with nothing. But I had fucking scars all over me, but that was from I think a night before. I think a fucking punch on potentially. I think I might have even been at Gravel Street or something like that.
So you walk out of there, you think I'm okay, but my mates aren't.
They're dead.
And
that's what I said.
You think 4 of them in there? Are all gone, you believe?
All gone.
You believe that?
I seen it.
And so then, fuck, man. Well,
I suppose I couldn't see at the time, man.
Right.
Car was hanging out of the fucking back of the car, fucking in half, The engine bay was in the fucking front seats,
So So then what happens next? Did the cops turn up?
Nah, they were there the whole time. This was a big thing in court, that they stopped fucking chasing, that they turned off the sirens. They weren't fucking behind us, but no, I was conscious the whole fucking time,
Were you wearing a seatbelt?
Yeah.
We don't know if the other guys were or not.
Oh, I think so, but it didn't fucking matter, did it?
It's just the impact's too much.
Yeah.
So then what... Man, it's hard to fucking talk about, but I just want...
Why? Why is it for you?
Well, no, I don't want to do the wrong thing. Is it hard for you? You're right, man?
No.
Well, I think, but I think it's just a story that should be told. So we eventually...
It's been a long time, man. Like, it's been Mate, I carried it for fucking years, you know. I said nothing for fucking years. And I think that's probably the wrong way to fucking go about it, you know.
Yeah.
If anything, I got fucking worse for fucking years, you know.
You kept it too much inside. Yeah.
Hard, you know. I got worse. I got more on gear. I got fucking out of control on the piss. I got more on the fucking... Mate, graff wasn't even a blur by that stage, you know. But, yeah. I wish it was kept to fucking graff, you know, but it's not what it was by that stage. And I was only fucking 16, you know.
Yeah. And, man, but that's the thing. And I think people obviously say you should talk about stuff, but you're at 16, you're at that age, you've got the graffiti mindset where people say you don't talk about stuff. And you just don't.
I mean, even the graffiti mindset, I don't even think it was a graffiti mindset. I was just thinking it was thinking like a fucking crook, unfortunately, you know. Say nothing. You don't say anything. You don't do this shit. That's for fucking sure, you know.
So when you find out, so you just presume early days, they're all gone. But then you find
Well, Spose wasn't moving.
Really?
There was no sound, no nothing, man.
Right.
It's like cold as fuck, you know. There's no
So
sound. Sirens are fucking going. Cunts are coming out of their houses. Like, what the fuck's just happened? We just ploughed their fucking brick wall over. And we got out, you know. Man, I remember it like it was fucking yesterday. Cunts are trying to fucking interview me as if I've just been pulled over for not wearing a fucking helmet. You know?
The cops are?
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
And I'm like, fucking have a look around, cunt. Fuck off with your fucking notebook, you know?
Yeah. And so, Spose, as we'll call him, yeah,
Glozza.
Glozza. He it ends up being okay.
Nah, man. He was wrecked. Dad had to cut him out. Man. He did rehab for, I want to say, like a year. He was in Epworth. He was fucked, man. Smashed his whole right side of his body. Fucking steel rods in him and shit like that.
But in hindsight, he's lucky, though.
He's lucky.
Yeah.
You know. But they locked him up, man, after he got out of rehab. He had car theft prize,
So he was driving?
No, he wasn't driving.
So then, but he's just associated?
No, just because of his prize.
Yeah.
To thieving cars.
Just being in the vehicle?
Just being in the vehicle. You know, mate, he had a bit of a fucking rap sheet by that time already. Again, we were fucking kids, you know.
Yeah. But so they try and charge you as well with stuff?
I was charged, but what do I have? I had a few references from fucking playing rugby league and all that kind of stuff. Mate, I had Gob. I think at that time, I think his old man might have written something for me as well, which I'm grateful for. But back then, like, just I should have learnt, but I didn't. You know.
And that sort of stuff now, being a parent, you think it's fucking avoidable, but it just is what it is at that stage, you know?
Well, man, like, being down here, man, I think we're able to sort of push them towards something else, man. I mean, just being fucking present, dude, you know? Like I said earlier, man, the old lady wasn't stopping me, you know? She tried, you know, but I wasn't listening then. I wanted out, you know? But I didn't have my own fucking bedroom till I fucking moved out, you know? Sharing a room with my brother. My brother had his own room, but yeah, just shit like that. Just little fucking things, man. Yeah. And again, growing up with the kids, Sandy, Hampton area, and a few of the Wesley heads and shit like that, you know, you're like, where the fuck's mine at, you know?
But it's there's two ways you can look at that. You can look at it from a...
No, I went out to try and get it, but the way I went out to get it was
the wrong way in hindsight, but you don't know.
Yeah, I didn't know.
You didn't know.
No.
So that's obviously an extremely traumatic thing for anyone to fucking go through. You lose some mates before your eyes, which people can't even... I don't think most people listening couldn't comprehend that sort of stuff. Yeah. So that's a lot for you to take on. So Spose ends up after a lot of time being okay, but you come out somewhat unscathed. Do you feel fucking guilty at that point? Because you
hard, man.
Yeah, you would. Yeah.
Hard, but I didn't know how to go about it. But yeah, probably just you know, fuck, even after that, you know, everyone wanted to fucking be around you. Everyone wanted to do it. And like every time anyone got together, you know what it was? You were fucking, everyone was on the piss. You know, all of a sudden you're fucking back on it, and you're just straight back in the fucking loop again. You know what I mean? Like sort of nothing's fucking changed. You know.
Yeah, well, it's hard, and you're obviously not that
And
old.
if anything, like I went harder after that. You know,
Because you don't know how to
just trying to bury it. You know. But.
Well, but man, it's also that you can figure out that it's something that you need to talk about now, and like commend you for saying it on such a in a way that other people can fucking hear it, because it's
no, if there's man, yeah. Well, when you asked me about this stuff, you know, I obviously knew it was going to fucking come up, but like, I'd rather it be someone like yourself, you know, someone that I fucking know, you know. Man, I got sent. I was court ordered to go and see counsellors and shit like that, you know, and it, you know, they fucking give you nonsense, mate. You know, they bring all this shit up. I still got to go back to my fucking house, and
yeah,
you're going straight back to the fucking hood, or straight back to where you're coming from, you know.
And yeah, and that sort of stuff I think comes with the best intentions, but it isn't
sure.
executed the right ways.
Yeah,
you know, like even with stuff that I've been through personally, they order you to go and get counselling and whatever, but then you're like, then that person's not there.
Well, I remember that, man, as well with you. You know, oh, that was around the same fucking time. You know,
yeah.
How'd you handle it?
Well, not good, but you don't think about stuff like that. You lose someone that's close to you. You just, especially being young and impressionable, you just go, oh well, fuck life, whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's kind of the way that you think about it. But I think with not forced, but like when people want you to go and talk to somebody, that comes with the best intentions generally.
Yeah,
they do, but you're not ready at that stage. You're 16. You're not ready to talk about it. You know.
Well, man, you know, suppose he's getting charged. Like we're going through court. Jack's a fucking lying about it. You know, already got a fucking fucked up mind on how Jack's operate anyway. You know, been done in the yards. I think I was 15 or maybe even going on 14. First time I get done in the yard, I had the shit fucking kicked out of me. You know. Putting the cages downstairs in the car park and fucking fire hydrant, and then that's just left there. So your mindset on them is already fucking warped, you know. And then you go on to court and fucking listening to the shit that they swear. They don't even have to fucking sit up in court. They can have some kind of fucking thing where they don't have to sit up on the fucking stand and answer questions like I fucking had to, you know.
And that's
about their fucking lies and how you're fucking lying because you were on fucking drugs, because you were fucking drinking, because you were fucking stealing cars. They weren't behind you. I think you got your timelines wrong. What do you mean, cunt? They were right there questioning me the moment I fucking stood out of the car.
Yeah.
You know?
The time, yeah. And the thing is, like, I understand that they think that they're trying to fucking figure out what's going on, but you're still a kid that's gone through a traumatic thing and lost fucking some best mates, right?
Yeah.
That is just bringing up stuff that is extremely raw, then saying, we're going to cross-examine you in an extent here, but then go talk to a counsellor. That's fucking like counterproductive, man.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, it doesn't, but so it was, so it is.
And so after that, obviously you take that, like, it takes a long time for you to process, even to the point of, what's that, 20 years ago now, just over 20 years.
Fuck. 22, yeah.
Yeah.
Something like
So it takes a long time, but you carry that shit with you.
Daily, man. Daily. Doesn't go away. With time it gets easier, but yeah, man, to be honest, yeah, with the kids and my wife, you know. That's all that matters, you know. That shit's in the fucking past. You get on with it now.
So you said that you go a bit harder for a while just because that's the cycle, and how that's with the beauty of hindsight, that's a destructive cycle. It's not the way to deal with it, but that's what you know. That's what you do.
Yeah.
So you just continue that.
Yeah. Go harder, probably more so on the drugs and
you're lucky you're not fucking dead too by that stage, man.
Yeah, well, there's a few fucking incidences like in that fucking period as well, you know.
I'm guessing that you kind of get to the.
You just fucking hate every cunt, you know. Anyone that fucking brings it up, well, it's on, you know.
Yeah.
And it was like that for a long time, especially when me and Drazy were together. Love that cunt to fucking death, you know. He's on his own fucking path. He's still in the fucking game, you know.
Right.
Unfortunately, I wish he'd wake up and fucking see what it is himself, but it's his path, man. He hopefully figure it out one day.
Everyone's on their different journey.
Yeah.
So the destruction, I should say destruction, the destructive behaviour continues for a while, but you snap out of it eventually.
Oh, it's funny, man. Like it's always there.
Yeah.
Even till this day, you know. Like a bit of fucking what's doing comes out and you gotta fucking try and sneak off without you know, getting the fucking itch and shit, you know?
Yeah. But that whole period, now you can look back and go, all right, well I wasn't dealing with it.
No.
But eventually you learn how to deal with it and you learn how to move on to an extent with your because you're carrying a lot of shit around.
Yeah. I guess, yeah.
Deep, man.
Yeah.
So you learn to deal with it at some stage. Or slowly, piece by piece.
I don't know. Do you? I think it's I think you just I guess to an extent, yeah, you learn to fucking deal with it. You learn to just fucking get on with it. You learn to, but like it's forever there, you know. It doesn't go away.
But you at some stage with your personal journey, you change from being more destructive to then being someone who's being more productive, right? That happens at some stage.
Yeah.
I guess when you get together with your missus and she kind of pulls you out of that destructive pattern. Is that what happens?
No, well, I guess there's still a lot of fucking partying going on. Still young, you know. So I guess so. A lot more positive stuff anyway. Well, really shying away from the graff, but like, you know, the party scene, there's still, I guess, the better things going on.
And it's also for a lot of people that grow up in the outer suburbs, I don't think they understand how much, when you grow up...
Well, that was a fucking completely... She had no idea, you know, where I'd sort of come from at that fucking stage, you know, until we were probably, you know, going out with each other.
Until it was too late.
It was too late. Yeah. She'd made her mind up and not sort of knowing, but yeah.
No, but that's it. But that's the thing. I think some people don't get. I
was real about it, man. I wanted change, and I saw it in her.
Right.
And that happened, you know.
What was the catalyst besides her that made you think, all right, I can't keep doing this. This is a self-destructive pattern. I've seen people go down this route. I'm not going to do that.
Meeting her family,
right,
which is my family now. You know, just seeing positive outlooks on things and positive family fucking life. And don't get me wrong, you know, people have their fucking issues and shit like that, but they don't go and get on the fucking gear about it. You know what I mean?
And that is definitely something that I think that it sounds so simple when you break it down, but seeing the real happy, positive family environments exist make you realise you can create one.
For sure.
And
and that's what I wanted to fucking do, man, for myself, you know. I didn't want it, like, at one stage, you know, I couldn't give a fuck who I fucking hurt or whether I hurt myself or whether it fucking ended for me. I didn't care. And that was a fucking dangerous time of my fucking life and fucking anyone that was around us at the fucking time, you know?
Yeah.
Which fell more into that fresh mess fucking lifestyle as well, you know?
Yeah. And then you've got to think, and like this is something that I've just figured out recently. Not all people from graffiti come from traumatic circumstances, but it definitely leads itself to that.
Yeah.
There is some trauma that sort of, and whether it's
fucking writers in general, man, I think, like, it's a warped fucking thing to do, man. Yeah. I was saying earlier, like, you want to fucking get up, but you don't want to be known. It's like it's an odd thing to
contradictory
fucking,
sort of.
Yeah, it's just an odd fucking way of life, man, you know?
Yeah.
But I fucking loved it.
Yeah.
Yeah, still do.
Yeah. And that's the thing, I guess.
But I'd like to think that I'd fucking, you know, hold out till 3 o'clock tonight and fucking go and do a piece. And I'd go walk out the door. I'm like, what the fuck? I'm tired as fuck. Got to go to work, man, you know.
Got to look after the kids. but also, you don't want to not be there when your kids need you because
all that,
that's the whole thing.
That's what matters, you know.
Yeah. On the weekend, you want to be there because your kids need you, and that's the whole thing.
Yeah.
I think with the traumatic upbringing that a lot of people have, it's all about breaking that cycle and figuring out that's why kids start to act out and do stuff. You know what I mean?
I'm present, man. You know, it's a big thing for me.
For sure.
I don't need to have all the fucking coin or whatnot. You know, if we can make something happen for the kids, I'll fucking do that. But I think being present is a massive thing. I think it would have been a big thing in a lot of fucking my rider mates' lives, you know?
Yeah.
Even outside of the riders, you know? And then even after the accident, before the accident, man, the first dude on you that passed away was Petty. He's a rider. And I think he was the first dude on you to pass away. In that sort of scene, that was 97 or 98 or something like that.
Yeah.
And then after the accident, man, it was Bencher, Flighter. He fucking OD'd it. Praiser. Fucking, who else? Jimmy. There's a few heads, you know. All off the back of the gear, you know.
Yeah, and that's the thing that I guess strikes the most because you're like, accidents happen, you know, things like that can happen. But when it's drug related, that's even harder to swallow because that's in a roundabout way people sort of bring it on their own demise because they're just in a bad place, you know.
Yeah. But again, unfortunately, it was sort of like the fucking that shit was happening then.
It's normal. And it shouldn't be normal, but I guess people that get onto that sort of pathway, I feel, and like someone who's never been it, but I can see it's sort of like a self-destructive scenario where people probably get to a point where they're like, "Fuck, man, this is what I do, and that's the way I'm going."
Yeah,
and they know it's not going to end well.
Yeah, but again, in that scene and that whole crew that we're rolling with, again, you know, it's a fucking 110, you know. That's the life. You go hard or fucking go home.
Do you feel like this? A lot of that sort of stuff with kids pinching cars and stuff happens now. When you hear about that shit, does it make you go, "Fuck"? You want to grab those kids and go, "Mate, it's not fucking worth it."
Yeah, like even thinking about coming on here, you know, and I knew it was going to come up, but like, you know, just for young riders. Just stick to the art, like that. That's the best thing fucking about it, you know. All the crew shit, the fucking beefs, the fucking nonsense is dead set fucking nonsense. And half these cunts wouldn't even fucking shape up if you fucking, you know, put it to them. But it's not fucking worth it.
Yeah, when you break it down, you're writing letters on shit. It doesn't really. No
one gives a fuck, mate. You know,
it's not life or death.
No, and that's how I fucking lived and breathed it. At one stage, I used to give a fuck, you know, who'd painted what yard and who'd done this and who'd done that, you know. And you go out tenfold and try and fucking smash it out, and as if you're some fucking king that owned the fucking yards. I don't fucking own shit. No one owns nothing, you know.
Yeah, and that's it. And I think parenthood changes mentalities, though.
For sure.
You know?
For sure.
Once you have kids, you think this other stuff doesn't matter as much.
No. It doesn't matter at all. It means nothing. I think even fucking Baylor said it after all the shit he's fucking done. You know what I mean? Even it was a trip out to hear his thoughts on what graff is, even after his book and shit, which was mint. To see our era of graff, because, you know, you always see graff books and all that kind of stuff, and it's always... war stories. Yeah, but it's always, you know, the old school 80s, your puzzles, your WCAs and all that, you know, his EMAs. But to see our era come out was fucking mint, you know. But then to hear him speak on a lot of things for graff himself and what it means to him now, you know, and what it's done to him, you know, health-wise and all that shit, you know. He's like, what the fuck?
Yeah. Well, man, that episode I did with Baylor was like early days. It was a year ago, man. So I'd like to talk to him again.
Yeah.
Get his because he's had he's a year on in his fucking journey.
Yeah.
Talk to him again, see where he's at.
Yeah.
But also, I don't want to bring the whole fucking thing down.
Well,
But then, so you get out of, not get out of graff, but you grow up a little bit, right? After this.
yeah. So what's that?
Inevitably.
That's 16.
Yeah.
That's 16.
But you still keep going?
Keep going hard. Probably hard into my 20s, I guess. 20, 21, something like that.
But yeah, and this is the thing that I think you forget about yourself, man. You've had a career in graffiti that most people have not had before you've even turned your early 20s. You know what I mean? It's a lot to accomplish.
But man, again, meeting the crews that I met and the heads that I met, like it was easy, man. Once you were in with the solid fucking crews that were amongst it and doing it, it was easy to do. Like
Easier, not easy. You still got to do it.
yeah, but it was natural with these cunts,
Right.
It flowed,
Yeah.
and I loved it. Everything flowed. Everything fucking came,
But then you
Obviously, I had the fucking downside to it, but when it comes to graff, like, yeah, the crew I was rolling with were fucking it.
So then, as time moves on, you start to think about losing your mates and this sort of destructive side of it. You meet your missus. You see that life can be a little bit more productive.
Yeah.
But you don't lose.
So the missus doesn't happen till my 20s, I don't think.
Right.
I'm pretty sure.
So you just keep hitting it for a while.
Yeah. I've met her, but then, a few other ones here and there, but it was all about the fucking graff. The graff was the missus,
Which is true, isn't it?
Yeah.
And that's
There's a whole reason why a lot of relationships don't fucking work out, especially for fucking writers. They can't fucking shake the shit.
And that's something that I think that a lot of people don't fucking get. Like, people get properly addicted.
Yeah.
Like it's the pokies, like it's booze, like it's heroin, whatever. They get hooked on it.
Yeah.
They need it.
Yeah.
And you were hooked.
I was hooked. I still reckon I am.
To a little extent.
Yeah.
It's funny.
Just a taste every now and then,
It's funny, but like your eyes now, like I'll speak to some writers and I'll say something, I'll be like, do you remember this? And they'll be like, yeah, I do. It's like they get that thing in their eyes, like they're like, yeah, I remember that. And like, it just heightens something for them.
Yeah.
Because that's because you were so involved in it, but also because maybe, man, that just triggers
It's funny talking about it now, like, because I've never thought about it like that, I never thought I was that involved. I've never thought that I was really that much to do with it, really. I've always looked at everyone else as like the bigger part of it, and way before me.
Yeah. But, man, don't discount yourself. There'd be people out there that would be like, I'd love to hear that dude's story. Like, I didn't know. I've seen his pieces. I've seen his tags. I've heard his bits of his story. People want to know, man.
Yeah.
Don't be like no one wants to know. They want to know.
Oh, I don't know,
But this is the thing. Everyone's story is interesting. Well, not everyone's story is interesting. Most people's story is interesting. But because you know someone well enough, you go, well, yeah, that's just who they are.
Yeah.
You break it down, people go, fuck, man, that's a story.
Yeah.
And you've lived the story.
Yeah.
But it's not until you start thinking about it, until I start talking to you, you go,
Yeah.
that's interesting.
Yeah. My wife would be like, well, whatever. You did some graffiti, who gives a fuck, But, and that's how I sort of look at it, because she looks at it like that. I'm like, oh, yeah, you're fucking right. It wasn't much.
But
that's her coming from
she doesn't
the Brady Bunch,
Well, yeah, but everyone's got different scenarios of what they think people do and don't care about.
Yeah.
Do you feel like better talking about it, or you feel like, Maloney, shut up, I don't really want to talk about this deep shit anymore?
No, I can talk about it. I can talk about it with you all fucking day.
Yeah, but other people might watch this. That's the other thing.
fuck, it doesn't bother me, man. Yeah. Oh, fuck. I'm an adult now, you know.
Yeah.
Why? What else would anyone else have to fucking say about it? You know?
No, and it's your story, and look at that. That's the thing. I think as males now in this age, we are encouraged to talk where we probably weren't, you know. And you add the criminal aspect, the graffiti aspect to it. You're definitely not supposed to talk.
Yeah. Well, I mean, man, the crew know me. You know, I'm not one to fucking speak it, mate. I'm 110% in it. You know. And if some fucking young fella's gonna fucking hear this and just see a different light to fucking graffiti or what it actually fucking does to people, what drugs do to fucking people, man, I'm telling you now, like that's what it fucking did to me, and I'm lucky to be alive. But I've got a lot of fucking friends that aren't here to fucking talk about it.
And that's 100%.
And there's crew that are fucking in the boob that are fucking, you know, that's fucking life for them now, you know.
They don't know anything else.
Man, one of my own cousins, he's in and out. He's done over fucking 15 years since we've been fucking 14 years old. Mate, he was right next to me. And the only reason why he was never fucking with me was because he was in the fucking boob, you know? For fucking stupid shit.
Yeah.
You know?
That's the thing.
For trying to fucking rep something that we're all about back then, you know? As fucking kids. You know? And he don't know no fucking better now. We're fucking 40 years old, you know? He gets fucking paroled. He's got to go home to fucking mums. You know? Or he needs help to fucking find some kind of fucking housing. And then he's got to fucking be left there to fucking sort out his fucking life that he's got no fucking idea about. Yeah, that's the fucking truth, you know? If that's what you want to fucking choose, then you're fucking tripping, you know?
Yeah, that's proper institutionalization, though.
Hard, man. But that's a fucking... That's reality of most of that crew from back then, you know? That's the fucking truth.
Yeah. And at some stage, you've got to snap out of that sort of stuff or you choose that lifestyle. And a lot of people think, oh, that is life. That is the way you do it. But then, you know, other people will realise there's more to life than that.
Yeah.
That's... I don't
Luckily, you know, again, like I said, man, I wish fucking all the old crew the fucking best and I wish they'd wake up to it, you know? But...
At some stage, do you think when you're doing this messed up stuff, all right, I've got boys that aren't even here anymore, so I've got to do something better because I've got this second chance.
I didn't think that for a while.
You didn't think that time?
Not at the time, no.
But eventually you did?
Eventually I did. Again, getting more into it with the wife and all that kind of stuff then, which we weren't even fucking married back then. But, and just seeing better ways of fucking life. And then I started to fucking think, you know, what was all that for? Fuck it, you're not going to get rid of me that fucking easy. I got to live, you know. Otherwise, that was all for fucking nothing, you know.
Yeah. Man, it must be hard to take on that whole sort of thing where you know friends that were there that have lost their lives, and then you didn't. There's guilt. There's also like I want to push on and be better. Why me? Man, there's a lot to take on from that. And that's shit that you would have been carrying for 20-something years.
Yeah. Man, even my man fucking Spose, you know. He was my best man at my fucking wedding, you know. But, fuck, man, that dude just caught fucking shit after shit, you know. His sister was fucking OD'd it in Paran, and these motherfuckers left her in the fucking street, you know, instead of taking her to the fucking hospital. You know? After all the shit we'd fucking been through, these fucking cunts go and do something like that, you know? Should have just taken her to hospital. She would have fucking lived.
She would have lived, you reckon?
She would have fucking lived. Doesn't matter anyway. These cunts get sorted, you know? Unfortunately, the old fucking way, but it's what it is if you want to fucking live that lifestyle, you know? Yeah.
A lot of shit happens and that it gets swept under the rug a lot, right?
Yeah,
do you agree?
Yeah, well, probably because it's the flats, it's the hoods, it's the fucking... all that stuff. And unfortunately, you know, like there's a lot of single mothers in there that are trying to fucking make shit happen for their fucking children, you know? They don't, you know... When you see the hood getting filmed, I understand what he's trying to do, you know, and like, you know, he's bringing some light to it, you know.
We're talking about like Spaniard now.
I think so. Yeah,
okay.
yeah. Well, yeah, we are, but I am.
Yeah.
But you know, I just don't like the glorified side of it. You know, when you're just getting out the old heads to talk about old school fucking stories about the area. I understand again what he's trying to do and he brings some kind of light to it, but man, film the mums in there that are trying to make it fucking happen. Film the mums in there that have lost fucking kids to the fucking hood shit. You know.
Yeah.
I've trying to put food on the fucking table as a single mother. Like I couldn't imagine my fucking wife doing what my mother did back in those fucking days. You know. Only to have a fucking son like myself go out and do the fucking things I did, you know?
Yeah.
Potentially not even fucking come home. To get a fucking knock on the door from the jacks, you know? Not with me in handcuffs, but me in a fucking box, you know? And that happens to crew.
Happens, man.
You know?
Guys and girls as well, but especially in the teenage years when you're going through some stuff, you do some shit and put your parents through some fucking horrible stuff that you don't even really think about. Yeah. Because you're too caught up in your own fucking angsty head.
Well, man, I thought it was all just graffiti. I legit thought it was what I was doing was fucking just graffiti. Relax, it's just graff.
But it's everything that goes with it.
All the other shit that was, on the side.
And and that's the thing, man. I think a lot of people put their families through a lot of stuff because they think, oh, that's just normal. This is just being kids. It's not till you have kids yourself you go, fuck. You couldn't even comprehend it.
If they could do it, good luck to them. But like, you know, nah, no way. Not while I'm alive, you know. I'll show you how it's done. You won't be able to keep up, you know.
but that's it. I think, man, having kids gives you this sort of hindsight that you don't have previous to that, where you go, oh man, I was worried about this. It doesn't matter anymore. But then also you think like, I would not let my kids do that. But at some stage, we still did shit that we weren't supposed to do.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
It doesn't compute. But I guess as you get older, you get a bit more mature. You start to understand it more. And I only have...
Do you think for yourself, this is a question from me to you.
Yeah.
Like, you got worse after what happened with your mum?
To an extent, but I think from me, I only had my mum. My dad didn't live with me.
Yeah.
And I had my grandparents around. My mum dies suddenly, and I'm like, didn't really know what to do. But I'm an adult at this stage. I just turned 20. I'm a very young adult. I just turned 20 years old. So I think it just sent me on a path of, I don't care. What do you care about? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it takes you a few years, man, because I don't think humans don't actually mature till they're about 27, 28. I think that's when the human brain is actually mature.
Yeah.
So I went on a path of, I don't care, nothing's guaranteed, we could all die tomorrow. Probably similar to what happened with you, because you go, well, people are here, then they're not.
Yeah.
So, well, I could be not here tomorrow, so I don't care.
Yeah.
And I didn't go to like, drastic with crime. I just went like, I'm going to live my life however I want to live it because it may not be here tomorrow.
Yeah. And I think to an extent for myself, I think I still do that, especially with the kids, you know, like if we're going to go, I do a lot of camping and shit like that these days, but, you know, if I say I'm going to go, or if the kids ask, that's what we're doing, you know. It's not like, nah, man, I'm gonna have to work this weekend. We'll have to put it off till fucking, nah, fuck it. We're going, you know. Again, like, I'm not promised it. They're not either, you know. That's fucking life.
Yeah, and that's the thing. But once you have kids that will remember stuff, once you say it, you got to do it.
Yeah.
If you say you're going to bring a Freddo frog home and you don't bring a Freddo frog home, they'll remember that.
Yeah.
You got to do it.
Yeah. For sure.
My kid will ring me up off my missus' phone, like, you don't forget the Freddo. I'm like, no, I'll bring you a Freddo, man.
Yeah,
Once you say it to a kid, you've got to fucking follow
Yeah. They'll hold on to that stuff, man.
And you can see where disappointment can come through and the trauma with kids, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I had that a lot with my old man, you know. Which, probably pushed me down that fucking path even more, you know. Mum trying to do her fucking best, you know. It just wasn't enough. Like, you know, when you start meeting up with all the kids that have their fucking families and all of a sudden you're going home back to your fucking room that you share with your fucking brother and shit, you're like, man, fuck this shit. You know? She's only trying to do her best. You know?
Yeah. And you can.
And again, this is the shit that doesn't get filmed in your fucking in the hoods and shit like that. You know.
Yeah. You can, and from the mother's point of view, they can only play the cards they're dealt, right?
That's it.
And they're like,
They're hard, man. That's a hard fucking card.
Yeah, and but from her perspective, she's got a roof and a room for 2 boys.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So she's doing the right thing.
Yeah.
But then you start to see the grass is greener. These kids got their own rooms. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
She's playing the cards she's dealt. And she's doing the best she can.
That's it.
And that's all people can do.
Yeah.
The in the hood stuff's interesting, man, because like I've had the dude who runs the Scobie, who runs the Park Towers recreation stuff there.
Yeah.
And like, you know, he's had people go into Park Towers and show all the bad shit. Yeah. But he's like, come and show all the good shit.
That's it. Well, that's another.
Come and show the people doing the positive stuff.
Go film Ninny, man. Go film what the other was doing and shit, you know? Yeah. All the kids in St Kilda and shit like that.
Yeah, Ho was doing it.
Ho, man. Another one, yeah.
But
man, talk about fucking skaters from back in the fucking day, man. Him and Carl were like fucking number 1, bro, you know?
Yeah.
Like, hectic skaters.
It's awesome to see kids that some kids that were potentially talked about as troubled kids, you know what I mean? That then go to do something really positive in the community. Man. That's awesome.
That's the bet. That's what the communities need, you know. Again, it's not fucking putting Spaniards things down or whatnot, but like, yeah, I understand what he's doing, but there's a lot more that can be done, especially if you want to put light on what's happening in those areas.
The positive shit.
The positive stuff as well.
The thing is with
even Gob's dad, man. Film him what he did back in the day for St Kilda. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, he's a massive influence on a lot of fucking people as well.
For sure. And like before it was cool. You know, like just going and getting people that were properly smacked out with nowhere to go. Yeah, but like then it become like a bit of a thing where you do charity work and you give stuff and you take some photos. He was legit in the trenches helping everybody.
Yeah. 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 Even to see him at Gob's 40th, you know. It's good. He's still the same old dude, you know. Trying to smack everyone. I think he smashed Masters on the tennis court, I'm pretty sure.
Really?
We'll fucking never let that up. Nah.
Masters thinks he's some sort of gun tennis player.
Mate, he got smoked. We were fucking watching. Then didn't turn up to fucking make breakfast in the morning. The fucking
all right. Obviously all your struggles and all that stuff that happened, man. But you come out of it to a point where you started doing an apprenticeship. You started to get your shit on track.
Yeah.
Which you still carry all this sort of negativity, but you knew at some stage you can't do that forever. Yeah.
No. Start mingling with like, positive heads and stuff. So what age? What are we talking, man? Fucking 20s. Yeah. Started to meet a few crew that, you know, get us into work and stuff like that. Start doing civil construction, working with machinery, doing roads and drainage and stuff like that. Still drugs and alcohol are still around at this fucking stage as well, you know.
Is it hard to go from someone who hasn't really worked and sort of got your stuff from
rorts
man,
and stuff? Whilst doing all of that, I still had my work ethic. I still trained, man, playing rugby and all that kind of stuff. But that was all sort of in the background to all this stuff, you know. But I did. I had jobs. I think I worked at Vic Ave in Albert Park for a while there.
The pizza joint?
Nah, it was like a fucking Italian joint.
Don Dino's.
I don't know. Can't remember. I was doing washing dishes and shit there at night time. Yeah.
Graffiti's always going to be there. It's always going to be fucking part of your DNA.
It's part of it, yeah.
Yeah, but then you start to get on your sort of straight and narrow journey, I say.
Yeah. Just into the work life, man. Just getting to know her family a lot better and just saying, again, the greener grass, you know?
Yeah.
And just starting to think to myself, you know, like I think this is where it's at. This is where I need to be if I want to have kids and move on and get past all that shit that happened in the past and have something positive come out of it, you know. Otherwise, that was all for fucking, what was it for? Nothing.
And I guess, not to say that, you know, your family did a bad job, but you want to try and break that cycle and sort of push some positive.
Man. Again, man, Mum was trying to do all the right fucking things, man. You know. And man, a lot of those traits that she instilled in me, I probably wouldn't have, like a lot of kids wouldn't have survived it. You know. I mean, you know, seeing my friends pass in front of me, like being a Māori, especially, you know, when someone passes in our family, they come home to us and they stay with us for the 3 days, you know.
Is that how it works?
That's cultural, man, yeah.
Okay.
They'll come home with us. So it was nothing for me to sort of, not in that state, but, you know, the first thing I did when I fucking saw him dead was I said a prayer for him in Māori, you know. That's the only thing I knew what to do and thought that was the right fucking thing to do in the circumstances, you know. But that was my training from my mother, you know, and my culture that I grew up with.
Fuck yeah. And that's it. And you knew instantly.
Yeah.
That's crazy, man.
Yeah. But, yeah, so, like, growing up with Mum and her ways and our cultural ways, you know, like, probably got me through a lot of things as well, you know.
I don't want to bring it down on the whole thing, but you get onto your positive stuff, but then Jordan passes as well, which is
Jordan was another one.
By that stage you were.
I was out, man. We
Yeah.
bought our first house and stuff like that, you know. And then to hear that was that was a big one for a young fella like him, you know. Such a pretty positive fucking kid, you know. Not really in a like, I mean, fuck, we all do criminal damage or whatever the fuck you want to call it, art or fucking graffiti, you know, whatever title you want to put on it. But like, yeah, to see him go like that and just go so early, man, was a big one, man.
And does that, you're living down this way at this stage, or you're okay? And then do you go back into to see the family
yeah,
stuff?
man, for sure, straight away,
yeah,
yeah. And they're just the Porters beating the Porters, you know, like just a positive fucking vibe, and like, you know, as tragic as it is for them as well, you know, and the way they went about it and the way they fucking represented Jordan and the way they wanted to do it. And the Porters are a fucking different unit, man. Like, always have been. They've always done them, and that's what I think everyone fucking loves about them, you know.
Yeah, that's something that I guess brings you straight. Like you've lost some friends in tragic circumstances. You get on the straight and narrow. That happens. It brings you back. It brings back some fucking bad sort of times. But I guess you get to meet some of the heads you haven't seen for a while. And
yeah, but like again with Jordan, man, like he wasn't a bad egg, you know. Like I'm not saying we were bad eggs, but we were doing wrong shit, you know. We weren't doing the fucking right thing, man. I'll put my fucking hand up for that, you know. But we made that fucking choice together, you know. And that's what we did. Whereas Jordan was a writer, you know. He was fucking bombing and doing that stuff. As I don't know, negative as some people might say it, but like to us, he was just a fucking good kid, you know.
And his legacy lives on, man.
Man, that goes hard. It's sick to see, you know.
Yeah.
I wish it was the same for us, but there's a fucking different thing surrounding that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. And man, people that I know that are older than me that don't know anything about graffiti, they know that I know a little bit about it.
Yeah.
They'll still ask me. They'll be like, "Man, who's this cinch guy? I see it everywhere."
Yeah, I'm still fucking throwing it up.
Yeah, but I'll explain to them. I'm like, look, some of it might be originally him, but most of it is out of a tribute.
Yeah.
And some people just people
Don't see the difference.
They don't. Well, they don't know. They don't understand that. But his legacy lives on, though, for sure.
Yeah, in a positive way, you know.
Yeah, and man, that's just. I don't want to keep adding to the trauma, but that.
He was the first kind of bomb with. Ever.
Exactly. So that's got to be tough, man.
That's a fucking fact, you know.
Yeah.
People fucking trip out on that, you know. But like he was the fucking kid that racked our first fucking paint, you know.
Yeah.
And the fucking exchange student staying in his house, you know. the little fucking model cans and shit.
Yeah.
Just fucking bombing, fuck your mum and suck shit, you know.
Man, and who would have thought that would turn into like a whole fucking thing?
I
for
didn't
you
think
guys?
that would have been. I never thought that he'd be the one to fucking do it. You know what I mean? As much as what Porter does, you know, and Porter was bombing hard back in those days as well, you know. Mick, I'm talking about, you know, before he was doing his faces and shit, man, he was bombing hard.
Yeah.
But yeah, I never thought it would be Geordie to take it to the level he took it to, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With the fire extinguishers, that
All
was
that shit,
early
man.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Was he the first to fucking get that shit going here?
I don't
or
know if he was the first, but he definitely probably
took it to another fucking level.
with a lot of, and was very prolific with that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Ahead of the game.
Yeah.
With that stuff.
Just balaclava jack rooftop and shit.
Yeah. And now to see Mick doing his thing as well,
Yeah, man.
like
Yeah.
fine art, proper fine art. Do you think he'd get down to that sort of fine art stuff, man?
It doesn't surprise me.
It makes sense.
It doesn't surprise me. Not like with his dad and stuff like that, and the way his mum was and stuff. You know, I'm not surprised with any of them, to be honest with you. And just to be so fucking humble about it, you know. If you didn't ask them or if you didn't know them, you wouldn't fucking know, you know.
Did you enjoy watching Nick's episode?
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Good insight. Like it's get him to talk a little bit.
Yeah, but I already knew that.
You knew a lot of it, yeah.
I know that about him. I know that about them, you know. I know they're fucking fantastic fucking people, you know. That house was fucking well open to anyone, you know. Jewish, Muslim, black, white, who gives a fuck, you know. And that shows in the work he does with kids these days, you know.
Yeah. And man, and it's awesome to think that area.
But I think it's the whole area we grew up in, man.
Yeah.
We were fucking colourblind to the fucking shit because we were mixed, you know. No one gave a fuck where you fucking come from. You know, you had kids coming out off the back of the fucking Cold Wars. You know, you had Bosnian kids, you had Russian kids, we had Jewish kids. Man, we had the Who family, soccer and all that, man, coming off the back of fucking Pol Pot, you know.
Yeah.
From Cambodia, we had Thai kids there, you know.
Soccer, man, one of the most naturally gifted athletes I reckon I've ever played a sport with. He could play everything, man.
Yeah, man. I wish he fucking grabbed it.
Yeah.
And ran with it, you know. All right. Yeah, just one thing I'd like to say to the young fellas that are battling or struggling with life is just you can go get help. Just go out there and speak to someone. If you need to speak to someone, go out there and speak, man, because there's plenty of help out there. And if you need it, you should just go and get it. You don't have to hold on to it.
And drugs and alcohol is a great way, and we say this while we're drinking a beer, is a great way to mask things, but it definitely doesn't
It doesn't
fix
help,
anything.
man. It doesn't fix nothing.
So, and I believe you've got to figure out this shit. Then you can have a beer, do whatever else you want to do, but you need to come to terms with things because trauma is what brings on this fucking ongoing depression that people have.
Yeah.
And understanding the trauma and knowing where it comes from is how you eventually
deal with it and get to move on with your life, man.
That's it. And you
Yeah.
can't move on with your life until you've dealt with it or talked about it or even at least come to the conclusion that you have the trauma. That's the hardest part.
Yeah, for sure.
And professional help is out there. Or even if you don't do that, talking to somebody.
Definitely speak to someone, man. Don't get hung up on it, you know.
And you didn't choose that
I
personally.
didn't choose that, man.
But you learned it later on.
I chose to fucking drink myself silly, get on the gear, and just put it on the back burner. Just put it behind. Try and put it behind me, but the whole time it was fucking right there with me. Every single fucking day, man. You know.
Yeah.
You wake up with that shit, thinking no one can help you, no one understands you. But there's plenty of people. There's plenty of ways to go about it, and drinking and drugs isn't the fucking right way to do it, man.
And I think that not everybody, but a lot of people have a friend that they could reach out to that may not be a professional that will at least understand them. And for someone like us, I think of Goblet, or we're lucky we've got people like that in our lives. You could ring all the time and they'll probably ring you back and you can chat about it. But if anyone else doesn't want to talk to someone professionally, think about somebody within your life, within your situation, who you might be able to reach out to.
For sure, man.
And that'll help.
For sure. Oh, and I've got plenty of heads I could have chatted to the whole time, you know.
They probably said that to you, but you're like, whatever.
I probably didn't.
But you weren't ready.
Ears, man.
You weren't ready.
No. But yeah, definitely go out there and get the help, man. Don't hold on to it. Yeah.
Like, okay, so with a lot of people getting themselves out of drugs, alcohol, shit situations, they turn to religion, which we were mentioning.
Yeah.
Is that a factor for you? Do you believe in that sort of shit?
I grew up with it. Man, I went to church until, I think it was year 7. I stopped going. And it was a Māori church, Christian, but like everything was done in Māori, in our language. But
are you still fluent in the language?
Nah, mate. Just trying to kick it with the Aussie kids and do the Aussie thing, you know. I struggled with that as a kid in primary school, man.
Because you didn't know enough of it?
Nah, well, I was probably not so much at primary school, but probably more so when I got to high school, you know. Like I was, where are you from, you know? Like, here. Like, you don't look like you're from here. Oh, my background's man. I always had to fucking say that, you know. But I was born and fucking bred here. Yeah. Grew up in fucking St Kilda, you know. Yeah. And I battled with that for a little bit, you know. Especially here, like, and then to go back to NZ and all my cousins to look like me, and then I talk like a fucking skip, you know. They're like, bro, what are you doing here, bro?
Yeah, it's hard.
Check out your flash shoes. And I'm like, mate. They're not flash. I fucking probably stole them. But fucking, you know. So it was hard to be a Māori back in NZ, and then hard to be an Aussie in Australia because I don't look the fucking part. You know what I mean?
But the looks only go a certain way. I know. With the Greek community, I know that the Greek dudes that I'm mates with, they'll call Greek family back at home, and they're like, "You talking in this like 1960s weird Greek accent because." People don't talk like that anymore. But they've grown up with their families who just talk like that. And they're like, because that's when they came here.
Yeah.
And so they're like, well, I'm not Greek enough to be Greek, and I'm not,
I battled with that for a bit.
But that's first generation sort of thing, I guess. It happens.
Yeah. Which, again, pushed me more towards fucking being accepted into the graff scene because no one fucking gave a fuck. As long as you were doing the graff, that's what it was.
Yeah, different language. Man, that's it. Graffiti, skateboarding, like art in general, music. People don't care where you're from, what you do. Yeah. You let your stuff talk for you.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
It's a good way to do it.
Yeah. So, going to church, I did it forever as a kid, which would go into like, we call it kapa haka, which is like just learning all traditional hakas and songs and stuff like that after church, and then everyone to sit down for a feed. And wasn't your normal, Catholic church kind of setup, but that was the way the Māoris did it, and most Polynesian families do it. And but going into high school, I didn't realise everyone else didn't go to fucking church. Like one of my mates, I think was an Aussie mate of mine at school, was like, "Oh, what are you doing this weekend?" I play rugby Saturday and go to church Sunday. And he's like, "What the fuck? You go to church?" I was like, "Don't you go to church?" He's like, "Nah." Like, you fucking serious? I go home and ask Mum, "Well, man, these Aussie kids don't go to fucking church. You told me everyone goes to church." She's like, "Oh, yeah, but we do." I'm like, "They fucking don't."
Yeah.
That was it. I was out.
Yeah.
I was like...
But the thing is with religion, man, I think I don't really subscribe to any religion, but it makes people probably like it's the ethos is just be a good cunt.
It is, man. But like, man, I'll go back to the accident, and the first thing I thought of to do is, when that happened, was I didn't cry for Mum. I didn't fucking scream for help, man. I prayed to fucking God for my mates. That's what I knew, and that's what I learnt. That's what I thought was the right thing to fucking do. Maybe made me feel a little bit better when I did it for myself at that fucking time, What's tripped out is to even think that I thought that, in the circumstances I was fucking in. But that's what I thought, and that's what I did before getting out of the car to fucking have my name taken by the fucking jacks.
Yeah. Well, I guess you did the only thing you know. You go into sort of fucking fight or flight mode. You think this is kind of cooked. if I've got one little speck of a chance of trying to help these guys in any way, that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah, man. Again, and that's how I was brought up with my culture as well. You know, anyone that passes in my family or anyone related, you know, they go home to the family at their house. We stay with them for 3 days. They're at home with us. That's the mourning process. Everyone comes through the house over those 3 days. Whoever wants to pay their respects. Back in the day, it used to be different tribes that would come in and pay their respects, especially to an elder or even a younger person. But anyone anyway.
So how do you go with your kids now? Do you want to try and continue that
Incorporate
culture?
it, yeah, for sure, man. But fortunately, they haven't had to face any of that
Oh,
stuff.
not with that. I just mean just with the Maori culture and what and how you
Yeah,
want to...
well, those prayers, man, I've handed on to them, you
Yep.
know. I guess I am a sort of a believer, and I think it's helped me over the time. Just again, something my mother's handed on to me, big time.
When we were talking earlier about situations as far as like a therapeutic way,
Yeah,
even just praying, and I'm not someone who practices this, but I could see how that would almost help because you're kind of talking about it a little bit in your head.
I guess so. Yeah.
Is that something that you did?
Nah,
It was just that time.
just that time for them at that moment of fucking time. That's all I could do for them,
Yeah.
knowing that they were gone. You know.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot to carry, man. A lot to carry, and a lot of people go through a lot of traumatic situations. But I think a lot of people don't understand when something happens like that with a lot of gravity. It's so hard for someone to actually let go of that.
But it also, for me, I think it's, man, a lot of shit I don't give a fuck about anymore. There's a lot of shit that just doesn't fucking matter, you know? Puts a lot of things into perspective. And it took me a long time to fucking realise that, you know? But, like, some people can get hung up on fucking nonsense, man. And, like, all of a sudden you're dead because you've been hung up on some fucking bullshit your whole fucking life, you know? You won't talk to someone because of something they said fucking years ago, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, that stuff's crazy.
it is. But, like, it happens, and people live their life that fucking way, you know, until something big happens to them, or people get hung up on what the fuck's Donald Trump's in fucking power. Why the fuck are we fucking... I can't believe this is happening. Well, you live here.
Yeah, who cares?
Doesn't fucking affect you one little fucking bit. Does nothing for your fucking children at all, you know?
And this is one thing that happens a lot, right? Is that something happens, a big event, and someone I was talking to yesterday, a friend of theirs passed away, and he goes, "I'll quit my job. I'm not doing that anymore. I want to do my art." Right? Which is sick, you know?
Yeah.
Because he's realised life's too short.
Yeah.
And then you got other people that might have suffered some sort of similar scenario years ago, and they've lived their life like that. So it starts to make sense to them.
Yeah.
But you can't think like that until it's happened to you. You know what I mean?
Which is... Yeah, I sort of feel like some people need a big fucking kick in the ass just to bring shit into perspective for them, you know. But some have got it fucking easy, man.
Yeah, and that is
And
sadly,
I'm not saying that's not a bad thing, but like
life's unfair though.
that's life,
It is.
you know.
Yeah, man, it is, and life. But that's the thing. You think about it. Life's unfair. People get dealt different hands, but then there's always someone worse off. And just being in this country, man, we're
This country, we're well off.
well off.
Yeah,
We can do whatever we want.
yeah.
You don't have to work if you don't want to.
No. Have a gig on the dial and you'd be fucking sweet, you know.
The rock and roll. Some people live like that.
Mate, yeah. What would you rather? Them not have anything and fucking out robbing everyone and fucking, you know, making life worse for other fucking people.
But that's the kind of thing that kind of gets me a little bit mad. Is like if you do want to do fuck all here, you can. But then there's still people out there doing shit that they shouldn't be doing. You're like, man, if you don't want to do anything, you don't rob from someone else. You just kick back and take the dole.
Yeah.
That's frustrating to me.
Yeah.
You know, we've got it here. Help's there if you want it.
Sure.
Man, I don't even know where we are on your journey. It's been a good chat though.
Yes.
We're probably at the point where you start working full time. You got together with your missus, and you sort of took a back step out of the whole graff stuff.
I took a massive backward step out of the graff stuff, man, and just started doing the work thing, man. Doing the work thing. Bought the house, sold the house, moved to the peninsula. Getting back in the market down here. Meeting a few old heads that we'll talk about earlier. That sort of moved away from the scene, probably a few years before me down here. Only to find another community, to find out you're down here as well, and another community of the heads that are sort of moving around, have the quiet life and do the thing down here as well. But, I turned off from it, completely and just did the work.
Which is healthy to an extent.
Yeah, yeah.
For some people, they don't need those temptations there,
Yeah. Yeah, well, to move away was to get away from it all and just switch off from it and just reset, But to see a few heads and meet a few people down here, it's been good, and I've been able to, talking like a fucking junkie, but I can control it,
No, but that's I think, and people, you need to find your people, and it is hard. I think when we've come from an area where a lot of people are accepted, you come down here where things that can be somewhat cookie cutter, it's hard to just be a bit different.
Yeah. Well, I did that's what I did, man. Mountain biking took over for me.
Yeah.
Which is something I did with Spose flat out as a kid, man. We rode bikes. If I wasn't skating, we rode a lot of BMX, and that's how I met Spose back in fucking 97 or something, was riding bikes, and that's how we gelled back then, all those fucking years ago. But got hard into that, got healthy again, because I stopped playing rugby a few years back and went hard on the mountain bikes, and that took over graff hard as well. I was like fucking just dedicated to that for a good 8 years. Probably still doing a fair bit of that now.
That's dangerous too, man.
My kids are hooked on it now. They're riding bikes, racing BMXs and stuff like that.
It's nuts.
Yeah. So that sort of took over. That had sort of a similar rush for me, I guess. Went hard in that.
But you're still paying a piece when the opportunity arises.
Still got to paint a piece every now and then. It was probably like 2 a year or something like that.
Yeah.
Old Bracey sort of got the crew back together. He's trying to revive it on Insta and all that stuff. And man, I hadn't met him. I only met him a few times back in the day.
Yeah.
And
because he's the older generation.
He's older generation as well. Again, and catching up with him again these days and just meeting all the old crew now through him. That's been good,
Because those guys must have been, they're an older generation.
Man, they're in their 50s, bro.
Yeah. And when you were going out smashing it when you were young, they must have been like, fuck, go get him. Like, fucking rep the crew hard.
Well, I hadn't even met him then because fresh mess for me back in those days, like at the start, was like, unfortunately, it was all the boob side, It was like probably a more so a prison crew than a riding crew at that time, And yeah, probably I was repping the riding side of it. I think it was me, Belt, Drazzy. I think that might have been about it then on the graff side of fucking things. But then there was
there's still
a few
the
old
crew held
heads,
weight.
stick ups, sparks. A few of these older preds, a few heads that were not so much on into the graff side of things, but into other things, which I loved as well, man. Like I loved all of them, I loved the whole fucking scene at the time, man.
All right. Just before we wrap it up, do you want to say some shit to some younger kids that probably maybe doing some shit that they shouldn't be doing? Give them some words.
I think I've said it, man.
You've done it?
Yeah, I think I've said it. I think there's just, there's more out there for you, man, in life. Like, and if you're going down that path, like, do your graff, do whatever it is you have to do, man. But like, just don't. You don't need to take it to those fucking levels, man. Like in the long run, like it's yourself, it's your own life. Like there's a whole life ahead of you, you know, and it can all end in a heartbeat, fucking in a shit way. You know, it's not fucking worth it. You know,
Man, it's been a good chat. I look forward to talking more with you off camera because we've had some good chats off camera too. Man, it's been good chat, and I appreciate you being so open and honest.
Like I said, man, I was probably a good thing talking to you about it. You know, I've never really opened up about any of it before. You know, good thing to get off my chest, or just even let people fucking know, man. That's the truth. That's what it is. Yes, I don't know whether it's I couldn't glorify it because there's no glory in it. You know.
No, it is what it is.
That's it.
Gastly. Appreciate your chat, man.
Cheers, brother.
Thank you.